Welcome, folks. We got to fix that intro. I don't know what's going on there. It is disgusting. It's awful. You guys deserve way better. But I'm back. Welcome back. We had all sorts of technical difficulties yesterday. So while it broke records, our personal records, we went over 8,000 views, total views live. And we hit a live peak viewership of over 640 views. So really impressive stuff. But you guys deserve way better. Like Jared Goff was saying after his rookie year, I'm going to do everything I can to get it fixed, and we're gonna make this the best damn stream possible. We're also going to be doing more of a, I've been doing it on the fly, and I've been trying to schedule it out as soon as I can, and I'm going to commit to more of a schedule. So I'm going to be posting. We're going to have live streams down the row. So you'll see, okay, this live stream is, Sunday at 6, and then maybe the Monday one is 9, and then the Tuesday one is 8. Like, I promise you, we're going to get that fixed. We're going to make it, easier to accommodate, and people are going to know when I'm going live. So I think that's very important to put that out there right now. Appreciate you guys so much. Everything has just been amazing. It's been overwhelming. I'm also going to mention, if you guys are interested in joining that little membership that we talked about, anybody that wants a little badge next to their name, $4.99 a month to support the channel. Don't feel like you have to, but we talked about it, I think, 2 streams ago, and a lot of people wanted it. So I did open up that to people. It's simple. You just hit join, and then, it's that. So let's talk a little bit, right? Let's see here. What do we got? Because yesterday I wasn't really able to talk to you guys. We had Blaine on, who was great, given his Senior Bowl coverage. And then right after that, we went into, Deshaun Watson and Matthew Stafford. And shortly after, the trade broke, and we had breaking news. You guys that were here when it was 60, you saw the viewership go from 60 to 600 in a matter of maybe 45 minutes. So it's really impressive what you guys were able to do. Coming in here, listen to me talk. Alexis Kraft came on. It was a lot of fun yesterday. I mean, it was annoying to see it end the way it did, but, I'm still very appreciative of it, and we have more, goals to break. So without further ado, let's see here. Rams House, what's up, my man? What's up, Marco Go Crazy? How we all doing? Let's see here. I'm trying to be more interactive today because yesterday was not the best I could have done. What's up, Eric? How we doing? What's up, Ted? How we doing, AZAA? Let's see here. We got Ramley Radio. How we doing? I do not have 9 cases of Canada Dry for this stream. I just have my Poland Spring water, as you can see here. What's up, Henry? How we doing? El Dago. What's up, A Green Substance? Hello from Maui. Hello to you, dog. I'm over in upstate New York, so hello to you from upstate New York. Andy Sanchez, how we doing? What's up, Millennium Falcon? I love that name. And I'm choking on the podcast, or whatever you want to call this. No Sprite today. AMS, what's up? All right. How's it going, Joe? All right. So here's how it's going to go. So I'm going to explain everything in a way that I want to make this as clear to people as possible that the Rams won this trade, okay? I understand there's a lot of, worry in the air about how many picks, the capital that was given up. But let me just tell you right now, this trade was awesome, okay? This trade was awesome. They give up 2 first rounders, 2022 and 2023. So essentially, they don't have to go out of their way breaking their back to get a first rounder this year. And they only trade away a third, which they had 3 thirds. So they get 1 from the Brad Holmes hire, which is very ironic in this scenario. They're going to get 1 from the departure of Dante Fowler, and they have their base third round pick. So their base third round pick is going to go to the Lions. And I'm going to be talking about the cap, so don't worry. I'm going to be talking about it all. And we're going to talk about what's next. And so, essentially, the Rams are getting a quarterback here who Aaron Rodgers has basically said, and I need to point this out because Aaron Rodgers, I believe, 100% is the best quarterback in football. And he's coming out and saying on Pat McAfee's show repeatedly, no one gives this guy number 9 in Detroit enough credit. And he made it very a point. I just saw the interview where basically, look, Matthew Stafford's been doing a lot of the things that Patrick Mahomes has been doing. He's just in Detroit and no one gives him the airtime. He's doing all those no-look passes. He's got an absolute rocket for an arm. He makes those subtle adjustments in the pocket. He's not anything like a Lamar Jackson where he's a track star, but neither is Patrick Mahomes. To be honest with you, he's the perfect mobile quarterback for Sean McVay's system. He's very similar to Rodgers. That's why I've been calling him Rodgers Light. And I've also been saying he's been doing the same things that Patrick Mahomes has been doing. He just doesn't get talked about. So at the end of the day, people worry, well, Stafford, he didn't really win a whole lot and all of that. Okay, well, let me try this on for you. He's played 164 games in the NFL. He's had 11 of those games, just 11, that he has had a running back go over 100 yards. So what does that tell me? One, the play action's not going to work because no one buys it. This team can't run the ball. And number 2, it tells me that he had to put the team on his back. So without play action, forget about that. He literally has to put the team on his back straight up. And that's why he's gone over 5,000 yards once and almost went over 5,000 yards again, throwing nearly 5,000 yards, throwing 4,900. So here's the thing, folks. If you want to, equate that to the Rams and what he's getting, the Rams, keep this in mind, they had a committee backfield, and they had 5 games this season which they had a 100-yard rusher in a game. In Matthew Stafford's entire career, he's had 11. He's had 11. So 6 more than the Rams had all year this year for his entire career. So this is huge. This is absolutely huge. Stafford's coming in, and, if you're a fantasy football fan, I might pick Cam Akers in the top 5 this year, to be honest with you. He's going to be very valuable. Stafford's best running back in his career, the only 1,000-yard rusher was Reggie Bush. So that needs to be said, okay? Now, as far as what else they're getting a guy that is going to simply keep his eyes downfield. He's not going to drop his eyes. He's a quick mental processor. He's got a quick trigger. And ultimately, he makes the right moves in the pocket. He's constantly just trying to make a play. And now I see this guy throw for 5,000 yards. And keep in mind, not even Kurt Warner threw for 5,000 yards. There's only been 12 instances in NFL history where that's happened, and Matthew Stafford's one of them. Now, he doesn't need to throw for 5,000 yards in this system. He doesn't. He could, and honestly, he has the weapons to do so. But this is the thing that's so impressive. People talk about Stafford and, Stafford, all those stats are all, he's down by 20 with, in the fourth quarter. Here's the thing. When Stafford is, when he is put on the spot, because I've heard these random stuff being thrown out there, well, Matthew Stafford isn't clutch. Well, define clutch. Because, I look at it and I'm just thinking, Matthew Stafford, there's a lot of people that, and I've said this before, I think the biggest issue is that he was considered overrated because of Calvin Johnson. And I've always said that. I said, having Calvin Johnson was going to be a blessing and a curse. It was going to be a blessing because it's Calvin Johnson, and it's going to be a curse because now people are going to think that Calvin Johnson made Matthew Stafford. And then, people will tell me, well, Jared Goff was a first overall pick. Yeah, did you forget in 2009 when Stafford went first overall from Georgia, was a legit elite quarterback prospect? He proved himself. He's still in the NFL. The guy who was drafted in the next year number 1 overall was Sam Bradford. He's not even in the league anymore. So Matthew Stafford has proven that he is legitimate And I think he's the 7th best quarterback in the league, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's higher, to be honest with you. But he is absolutely going to explode in this Sean McVay offense. So let me just make that very clear. He's going to explode in this Sean McVay offense, okay? He has almost 300 touchdowns in his career, 144 interceptions. This guy's a gunslinger. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're getting. You're getting a guy that, has basically had 38 game-winning drives, 31 comebacks. So when I've always said that, Jared Goff is somebody that I don't think that I don't feel comfortable that the Rams can come back and win a game because Goff. Stafford's going to win you those games. And Stafford was doing that with Quintez Cephas. He was doing that with Golden Tate, and he was doing that with guys like Marvin Jones, and he was doing it without Kenny Golladay, who was the number one receiver that's constantly hurt. So he's done that before. And, I look at the Rams and I'm thinking, there's a lot of weapons going on here. And we're going to talk about Marvin Jones in a little bit. Again, this is everything. This is wrapping it all in a bow. And we're going to basically cover everything. So if you're worried about me talking about the salary cap, I will be doing that. If you're worried about me talking about free agency, I will be doing that. Any trade targets, what have you, I will be doing that. So I'm covering everything. This is the whole scoop. That's why I started at 6. Could go until 8, a little bit after 8. So, buckle up. This is going to be a lot of content for you guys, straight up. But no, I think ultimately the Rams are getting a guy that, he threw 727 passes in 2012. This is somebody that has no issue throwing the ball. And what did everyone say when Jared Goff had like 50? He had a game where he had like 50 passes. People would be like, stop throwing the ball, run the ball. Matt Stafford had, an offense that was running well below 100 yards per game on average. The Rams were near the 120s. So, this is a great fit for Stafford. The Rams are going to have somebody that's a, proven quarterback and somebody that I think can shoot his way up into that top tier. And ultimately, I think his Hall of Fame campaign started yesterday when he was traded to the Rams. I think now this is time. He can get to Canton. And I'm going to say this right now. He is my favorite to win the 2021 MVP. I think he's going to. So that's where I'm at in that regard. I think he is a special player, and I think he's finally going to get his due because he's been doing this for a long time and hasn't been given anywhere near as much credit. And I know this because I've been watching these games, and I always hear, oh, well, if Stafford did this or if Stafford did that. And it's like I feel like a lot of Lions fans do really get how good he is, but some don't. And mostly I think around the league, people don't get how good he is. So that I wanted to put that out there. Stafford is absolutely mobile enough. Keep in mind, mobility is being able to move around. It doesn't mean you need a sprinter. This is not, a case where you need a guy that's going to be able to sprint out and make, big time, runs. He can run, he can get you your first down, but that is not his game. It never has been. So that is the first thing I have to mention. The second thing I have to mention is that this guy has the experience. And look, he hasn't played in a Super Bowl like Jared Goff, but he has the experience in all different situations of games. Jared Goff only had a small sample size his rookie year, but for the most part, he hasn't really played in kind of a hardship type of situation. So when the Rams get blown out every now and then, it's a shock. And, Goff isn't really used to that. This is also a thing that's going to play well into Stafford's hands. This is an offensive mind in Sean McVay that's ultimately going to, force teams to basically they're going to hold the ball. And I think at times the Rams might score too quickly, that at the end of the day, maybe they don't have as high of a time possession as they did last year. But I think ultimately they are going to dominate the time of possession and pretty much just, for the most part, they're going to keep doing their thing. They're going to keep, playing Sean McVay football, and that's ultimately what's going to help them, Sean McVay continue to, extend that undefeated streak of being undefeated at halftime when winning. So I think that's a big blueprint there. It's one of the reasons why I'm like, I don't know how the Rams are going to lose many games next year with Stafford, and I haven't even seen the defense. Stafford had a lesser defense in, Detroit The one time he had a top 10 defense, one time in his career, they went 11-5. They went to the playoffs. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. AZZA, really appreciate that. I'm putting good money down on Stafford for MVP. Oh, I'm not a betting man, but man, I almost want to, because I do think Stafford can win the MVP. But, I'm just going to say it, okay? Like, straight up, I think Stafford can be the top quarterback in the league next year. I'm not saying he is the best quarterback in the league, but I think the well-performing, they're going to have so much to work with that Stafford just simply hasn't had to work with Detroit. And I'm so excited for this guy from not only just a Rams fan perspective. For me, this means so much because I've watched this guy, and I always root for the underdog. It seems that way anyway. Stafford has gone from, you could argue, overrated to underrated, to the point where people think he's not even in the top 10. And I just can't subscribe to that notion. When you see what he can do on film, I mean, he's making those no-look throws in the end zone. He's a gutsy player. You don't have to worry about, him as far as, toughness, because he's literally separated his shoulder and he has gone out and, he has competed and won a game. He did that his rookie year. He's been through it all. And so I don't have any worries about the growing pains or anything like that you would go through for a younger quarterback. You're getting a veteran that's seasoned. He's been through it all. He's been through the good. He's been through the bad. And now he's ready to be through the elite. He's ready to go to the Super Bowl. Thanks again. I appreciate that, my man. Even though AD has deserved MVP for years. I agree. I absolutely agree. So with that being said, with Matthew Stafford, what's next, right? We're talking about him. I know you guys are psyched. I'm psyched. It's going to be fun. But what's next? Well, you look at the roster. You look at the offense, and you steer over, and you see Matthew Stafford at quarterback. You see a great backup in John Wolford, who can start in this league. I've said it. So the Rams retain the fact that they have two starting quarterbacks on the roster. Then you look at Bryce Perkins, who I think is a very good, developmental prospect there that they have. And then they have Devlin Hodges, who I really like, somebody that can work off script. So they have all these guys that are mobile and can work off script. So that'll be good. That's going to be a crazy quarterback battle to get into, basically the backup. But I think, Wolford's going to take that. And then whoever gets third, that's going to be that. So then moving on to the running backs. I know there's a lot of buzz. Well, the Rams could draft a running back. They do it all the time. Malcolm Brown's likely gone. Sure, you may be right on that, but Cam Akers is going to be the guy. And then they have Darrell Henderson, who's going to be more than a backup. I think the way, and I've said this, the way Matt LaFleur used his running backs, Aaron Jones, Jamal Williams, and A.J. Dillon, in the Rams game is how you can expect Sean McVay to use his running backs moving forward. I think he's going to take a lot. He's going to look a lot of film on that, and he's going to be like, all right, I can really make something happen with that. That's what we're going to do. So I think he's going to use Henderson in the split back formation, use him in the shotgun with Stafford, and in Akers. They have two guys that I really like, a UDFA out of SMU, obviously Rams, SMU, that goes well. You can think about Eric Dickerson, but Xavier Jones is somebody that I really like. He's got great balance, somebody that can, work after the catch, somebody that can block. But ultimately, I do think that they can use him next year if they need to. And then they have another guy I really like in Raymond Calais, who they basically claimed right off of the Buccaneers practice squad. This is somebody that is very fast. He could be the returner next year out of Louisiana Lafayette. And I ultimately think that, he could have a role with this team, kind of like in a similar vein as Tariq Cohen had with the Bears. So they have all sorts of guys, in the running back room, in the quarterback room. Then you look at the receiver. And the receiver room's interesting here because what's going on is they may or may not move on from Simba Webster. They probably will as far as a returner, but he might make the roster. He's a decent receiver, UDFA, out of the same school that Cooper Kupp and Samson Ebukam went to, Eastern Washington. So he has that familiarity. Somebody that did make a name for himself in preseason, having John Wolford throwing to him. And look, I'm going to be real here. I do think that there's a reason they kept Tristan Jackson from Syracuse. He's a former Michigan State receiver that transferred, there is a surefire reason why they've kept him on the practice squad. So it'll be interesting to see if he, amounts to anything. But regardless of those guys, you have Robert Woods, you have Cooper Kupp, and you have Van Jefferson. Now, let's discuss this. So quarterback's good, running back's good. Mark, I appreciate it. Let's see, restructure, free up cap space. Let's go re-sign John Johnson, get a stud O-lineman in free agency, center or guard, and then get a free agent stud D lineman or edge. We're going to talk all about it, man, but I appreciate you throwing it out there because there's going to be a lot of restructuring that's going to be talked about in this episode, or whatever you want to call it at this point. So going back to the receivers, you have Cooper Kupp, you have Robert Woods, you have Van Jefferson. So this is the whole package. You're getting a whole kind of preview of the Rams that I'm giving to you. So this is what's moving forward. And with Van Jefferson, he is going to slide right in there as the slot guy, but really you need to think about this. They're very interchangeable, okay? Robert Woods can play the slot, he can play outside. Cooper Kupp can play a slot, he can play outside. And then you have Van Jefferson that can play the slot, he can play outside. Van Jefferson right now is the guy that would be the deep threat. And when you look at Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, there's only one guy ahead of them in total yak yardage over the last 2 years, and that's Davante Adams. So these guys make something happen after they catch for Jared Goff. They're going to really be awesome for Matthew Stafford. And then here's the thing. So you have your three receivers. You have Simba Webster. You have Tristan Jackson. That's obviously not going to catch your ear and be like, oh, that sounds awesome. So here's what's going to happen, folks. They are going to look at the market. They're going to look at the market, and they're going to potentially make a move and be ready, because I think it's definitely a genuine chance that they go out and get a deep threat. And here's some deep threat options for you. You have Khalif Raymond, who had 20.8 yards per catch last year for the Titans. Nelson Aguilar, who really came on strong, resurgent year, 18.7 yards per catch with the Raiders. Brashad Perriman, 16.8 yards per catch with the Jets. Marvin Hall, somebody that has kind of been all over the place. He played with the Lions. He has the rapport with Stafford, 16.8 yards per catch. Very, very fast receiver. Can beat you over the top. Will Fuller, kind of more expensive, but 16.6 yards per catch from Houston. Corey Davis is an interesting one, a former 4th overall pick by the Tennessee Titans with the Rams pick, might I add. 15.1 yards per catch, and he is a free agent. And then you have other guys, Antonio Brown, Sammy Watkins, Keelan Cole, John Ross, T.Y. Hilton, Curtis Samuel. And then one guy I want to bring attention to, and I noticed I didn't mention Kenny Golladay because I think they're completely priced out of the range of Kenny Golladay. One thing that I want you guys to consider is that Matthew Stafford was throwing dimes to this man, Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, I always felt like was overrated. But when I looked through it today, because I thought about it and I was going over it for the show, and Marvin Jones would have led the team in receiving this year, folks. He had 978 yards receiving. It's a little bit more than Cooper Kupp. I mean, it's literally 3 or 4 yards more than Cooper Kupp. But the point is, he would have led the Rams in receiving according to his stats. He had 9 touchdowns. He had 9 touchdowns in 2019. He's had a 1,000-yard season with Stafford where he had 18 yards per reception and 9 touchdowns. He had 10 touchdowns in Cincinnati. So this is somebody that gets in the end zone. This is somebody that's going to go high point the ball. You look at his size. It's a 6'2", 199. He's very similar size as, say, you want to talk about Josh Reynolds. Except, don't worry, folks. He actually goes up and plucks the ball out of the air. He can beat you over the top because he ran in the 4.4s at the combine, and he's from LA. And guess what? He sure is interested because Dan Orlovsky tweeted it. Thank you, ACZA. I appreciate the donation. Possible Brandon Cook's return. I doubt it based on his tweet yesterday. It sounded kind of cryptic against the Rams. But just continuing on what I'm saying, with Marvin Jones, this is somebody that just got mentioned in a Dan Orlovsky tweet. This is what the Rams need to do next now that they have Stafford. They need to go out and they need to go get Marvin Jones. And he's a free agent. And then Marvin Jones not only liked it, he quote tweeted it, and it was like he had, kind of like a celebratory gif going on. So he's definitely interested. As you know, he played at Cal. He was born in Los Angeles. I see the fit. I absolutely see the fit. I think Marvin Jones would be awesome. You'd have 4 legit receivers. They don't need Marvin Jones, but if you can get him for cheap, I'm telling you right now, that's absolutely where the Rams should go. If you want to go cheaper than that, you could go with John Ross. You could go with a Marvin Hall. So there are guys there. But I would absolutely be interested in Marvin Jones. The rapport that Matthew Stafford and him have is just, it's tremendous. And you talk about adding a deep threat, man, a guy that will go up and he plays like he's 6'4". He's awesome. He really is. He's extremely underrated. And if you put him in this offense, he would absolutely blow up. Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you guys are awesome with the donations today. My God, I really appreciate it. 1 to 2 year deal with J.J. Watt, Von Miller, help Donald. Well, I believe both of those guys are. Well, at least J.J. Watt I know is under contract. Von Miller's an interesting one. I honestly don't. I won't rule out that the Rams will go after J.J. Watt, but we'll get to that. So at receiver, I'm gonna say if I can go after anybody. Marvin Jones, say at the max, I pay $8 million per year, and I give him a 2-year deal, $8 million. It's the same deal as Stafford. You get 2 years out of Stafford, and then they'll probably sign him long term, but we'll see. And then Marvin Jones, same deal, 2 years. I think if they can do that, then that would be great, and they can figure out a way to do that because Stafford can take a restructure here. And what Stafford's restructure would allow is that the Rams already saved around $15 million for trading Goff. They would have another $15 million that they would save with a Stafford restructure. They can restructure Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald, and now you're around $30 million in cap space or a little bit above it. And then you could restructure Woods and Kupp if you wanted to. It's pretty crazy, but the Rams could find themselves, including if Whitworth just randomly were to say, I'm done, I retire. That wouldn't make the Rams any better, but it would put them probably around the $50 million cap. And here's the thing, folks. As soon as they do that, as soon as they restructure Matt Stafford and most likely restructure Ramsey and Donald, you need to keep this in mind. The Rams are all of a sudden in the top 10 of most cap space in the league. So this is kind of, before I continue down this path of talking about the position by position factor, let's just take a moment to kind of gloat as fans. You've heard it. You've heard the media constantly say, like big media, constantly say, the Rams have no chance. There's no way that they're getting out of this Goff deal. I saw on ESPN. There's no way that the Rams are getting out of it. It's practically impossible. No, it's not practically impossible. It is impossible. There's no way they're getting out of the Goff deal. And then they get out of the Goff deal. And oh my God, the Rams, they have no cap space. They can't get somebody. All of a sudden, now they'll be able to get up to $30 million in cap space and maybe more, and they could go out and get a Marvin Jones. Now, why would you? Would it stunt Van Jefferson's growth? No, because quite honestly, they can rotate. I have no issue with them rotating. Here's the thing. With Goff, they were limited. They couldn't go deep down the field. Now, with Stafford, all the possibilities are really endless with this offense, and that is what's so exciting. Literally, everything is on the table. When you say that a guy can make all the throws, you can hear it from people. It's kind of like one of those, well, he can make all the throws. It's one of those, honestly, those filler type of conversation starters or whatever, talking about, a quarterback that you like in the draft or what have you. But legitimately, Matthew Stafford can make every single throw on the field. I have no doubt in my mind. He is that talented. So that's what it comes down to, folks. They could really do that. So that's just looking at the wide receiver. Let's look at tight end. Johnny Munt is a restricted free agent. Gerald Everett is expected not to come back. So now you're with Tyler Higbee, and you're with the 4th-round pick, who was my number 1 tight end last year in Bryson Hopkins, who didn't really get a chance to play. And then they have Kendall Blanton, a practice squad tight end, who a UDFA from Mizzou. And quite honestly, I think it's a great tight end room. I think long-term, you're going to get a stellar play out of Bryson Hopkins. Look, I'll tell you guys, whether you believe me or not, I spoke to Bryson at the Senior Bowl. Talked to him and asked him, if he met with the Rams. He lit up like a Christmas tree, seemed very excited, very happy. I asked him more about, the meeting because he sounded really happy, and he just said they really view me as a tandem with him and Tyler. Him and Tyler Higbee is what he was talking about. So here we are. Him and Tyler are now a tandem. So we'll see how that goes. Stafford had Hawkinson, who he really looked to in the red zone. Stafford does a lot of nice things in the red zone because of his ability to escape and buy, receivers time to get open. So I'm really looking forward to Tyler Higbee. He could have a huge year. Bryson could have a nice year in the red zone. He could be their designated red zone target. And then, I think you're pretty good at that. Maybe you draft a tight end later on in the draft if you like somebody, or you bring back Munt, or you just keep doing what you're doing with the UDFAs. Munt is a really good blocker, so I'm not going to say that, he's just chopped liver, but what I am going to say is that they're going to put all their focus on Darius Williams. So moving on to the offensive line, and, right now it's a little interesting because you have, your left tackle is Andrew Whitworth. Your left guard is kind of up in the air. You could have Noteboom. You could have Tremaine Ingram, who was the 7th round pick out of Clemson. You could have David Edwards. You could have Bobby Evans. So a bunch of options there. You could have Corbett as well. Then you go to center. And center, it's pretty much Corbett. I don't really think anybody else is going to start at center. Guard, it's the same thing at left guard as right guard. And then right tackle, you have guys like Noteboom. Maybe he plays right tackle. If they keep Havenstein plays right tackle. Bobby Evans, David Edwards, Tremaine Ingram. I think they're all interchangeable except for center. So I think it's something to keep in mind. Havenstein would save the Rams some money, around $5 million if they traded him or cut him or restructured him. So something's going to happen. I don't necessarily think Havenstein is the guy because you're getting these guys now that are more and more athletic. Talk about a Brian Burns that runs a 4.5 at the combine. Myles Garrett. There's just too much athleticism around the league at the edge, defender position. And when you have these guys that are super, super fast, super explosive athletes, you can't afford to have Havenstein, who is pretty sluggish, honestly, against those quicker guys. We saw it against Philly. Got Jared Goff strip sacked, and that honestly lost him the game. A few years back, but. I think ultimately this is somebody that if you want to move Havenstein in at guard, that might be your best option to salvage him. But they need a more athletic right tackle, and they have a few on the roster that I would definitely plug in there. Now, who could they grab? Is there anybody that they could grab? They could look in the draft, and personally, I think keeping their second-round pick was a huge, huge underrated and misstated understated type of thing that went down because they get to keep their second round pick and they could go out and get Creed Humphrey to be their center. He was great at the Senior Bowl. This is somebody that isn't the biggest center, but he just plays with a mean streak. He's a mauler. I love the guy out of Oklahoma. Would love him in the second round. But looking at the rest of the offensive line, though, I think they're pretty much set. They don't want to have too much turnover. Because you have too much turnover and then all of a sudden you have to have that continuity and then you have to gel again. And pretty much I just think, when you have to gel and you have to have all those moving pieces, I think it, vaults into what you saw in 2019. The offensive line was not on the same page until the last 4 games of the season. And I think it's something very important to say. You have to point that out because nothing is more important on the offensive line than continuity. And if these guys, it's constantly a moving cogs left and right, it's not going to go well. We've seen that. So I think the Rams will do their best to, potentially bring back Blythe, who's a free agent. I don't think he's going to be expensive. If they can bring him back around the same dollar amount they did, like a $1 to $3 million deal, absolutely doing that. But I would love Creed Humphrey to insert him as the center if Blythe is indeed out. On the defensive line, Sebastian Joseph Day deserves a ton of credit. He really found another level of his game this past year. And by the way, because of guys like Sebastian Joseph Day, a 7th rounder, that has really just stepped up. He's really turned into quite the player. This is why they're trading picks in the first round. This is why they're trading picks and not caring, because they know, hey, we can draft a starting caliber defensive lineman that we can develop into in the 7th round. And we know a lot of teams can't. So I think that's something that needs to be said. Sebastian Joseph had his best season. They have Michael Brockers, who I know some people are saying cap casualty, but look at the way this roster is constructed. I don't see it. I think they look at Brockers as part of the win now approach. You have the veteran; he means so much in the locker room. This is a hard leader, culture changing type of defensive tackle. What he does off the field, and then of course Aaron Donald, the best defensive lineman, the best player in all of sports, best in all of football, but maybe all of sports. Maybe he's the best athlete. Who knows? He's just phenomenal, and he gets everybody to eat. He puts everybody in position to win. There's not really much you can say about Aaron Donald except that he's the best player, and it's not even close. And then, of course, and I just saw John mention that Donald would be pissed if Brockers got cut. Yes, you don't want to piss off Donald. And then they have Greg Gaines, a 4th-round pick that they got out of Washington. Look, this guy hasn't gotten a ton of opportunities, but when he gets opportunities, he produces. He constantly gets in the backfield. He either, crashes, a run play, or he's somebody that can pressure the quarterback. I'm a big fan of him. I really am. We'll see with him moving forward, but they really have some really big talent there at defensive line. And I didn't even mention Ashawn Robinson, who they can't cut, by the way, because it would be a lot of money. According to Spotrac, they would take so much money. It just wouldn't make any sense. They would lose cap. So they'll keep him, okay? He's great. He really is. He's a big body, and keep in mind, before you write off Ashawn Robinson, who also played with Matthew Stafford, by the way, in Detroit, before you write him off, keep this in mind. All season long, this guy had all sorts of health issues. He finally got himself football ready, and it was in the playoffs, and he started playing well. So I think, it can't be stressed enough. He's a big body guy. He's decently young. He's going to be your nose tackle in there. I mean, they're probably going to run more of a 4-3 looking set at first. And then, obviously they'll be more multiple and run a lot of nickel. But when they need a nose tackle, he can be that guy for sure. So I'm definitely interested to see that defensive line. Now, with Fox, this is a little bit of an interesting one because Fox is coming off a 6-sack year. He's coming out of the best defense in football. Conventional wisdom would tell me that Fox would be back, but I don't know. I really don't. I think they'd want to have him back, but at the end of the day, I don't know if they're going to get him back because I think a team could, like the Colts, they have a lot of money, could be like, we like Fox. I'll put him in Matt Eberflus's defense, put him next to DeForest Buckner, and let's roll. And I think that'd be a really good fit for him. So I'd love him back, but I don't know if the Rams will necessarily do that. They do have Eric Banks, who has worked extensively with Eric Henderson, the defensive lines coach. They have experience going back to his college days. So he's somebody that maybe they develop. But, that's kind of how I look at the defensive line. Someone mentioned, and this is the interior I'm talking, but someone mentioned J.J. Watt. I won't throw that away. I am not saying that J.J. Watt necessarily I know he's going to be expensive, but I don't think it's a guarantee that the Rams don't get him. I think they're in that win now mode, and if it only costs a 3rd-round pick, I'll draft J.J. Watt. Yeah, I mean, if they can afford it, say Houston takes on some money just to get a 3rd-round pick for him, I'd be down. I'd do it. So I think Watt is potential. I mean, I'm not going to say he's a guarantee. But I think the Rams need to focus probably more on the edge defending position. Wow, that sounded so bad. So we have, first off, Justin Hollins, a guy that comes from the Vic Fangio scheme over in Denver. Brandon Staley worked with him, tried to move him over to inside linebacker. And this is somebody that is versatile, but I legitimately do think that Justin Hollins can start for this defense. And it sounds weird because, first off, no one views him as a starter. Second, he was with Brandon Staley. That was the whole point. They were reunited. And now, honestly, I'm just going to tell you right now, I think he has a chance to start over Terrell Lewis. I'm looking at this depth chart right here, and I'm just thinking, I'm not actually looking at it right now, but if I was looking at it, I would just say, look, Terrell Lewis is not reliable. He's a third-round pick that's constantly hurt. You can't bank on that. They have Obanai Okoronkwo, who they got in the 5th round out of Oklahoma, who they like a lot. And so we'll see, where he goes with that. He's going to get an opportunity. We'll see in what capacity. But I do think Justin Hollins right now might be the best edge defender right now on the team because Leonard Floyd is a free agent. Now, could they go out and get a guy like Von Miller? I don't know what's going on legally with Von Miller. That stuff's weird. And I can say as a joke, and I'm sure anybody that's watching from my group chat on iMessage is going to enjoy this, but Von Miller's actually in our group chat. we added Von Miller, and Von Miller still hasn't left. So there's that. But anyway. So they could go out and get, an edge defender. And I think in the draft, you have, Roche from Miami. You have Hamilcar Rashid. There's some guys that, you could definitely go after at the edge defending position. And, even Shaka Toney from Penn State. I think that's a position I would target in the draft, though. I don't know if I would look at free agency, maybe try to bargain bin and see what you can do. But I would definitely try and draft somebody because I think that Terrell Lewis is going to end up being a bust just based on the fact that he's not going to be able to stay healthy. I've seen this kind before, very talented player, but, he's never healthy. These guys, they happen a lot. So, I think ultimately this is a good looking defense, but they definitely could upgrade the edge, the edge position for sure. Now, I'll say this. Okay, so inside linebacker or middle linebacker, however they decide to do this, you're looking at Troy Reeder, who is a UDFA out of Delaware, who transferred from Penn State, who's now started, over 16 games. Somebody they like a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. Micah Kaiser, a 5th-round pick out of Virginia, somebody they like a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if he starts. Kenny Young, a guy they have a few more years of control with after a throw-in. To the Marcus Peters deal. He comes from UCLA and, of course, Baltimore. I won't rule it out that he starts because he started over Kaiser in the final game of the season. And then you have Traven Howard, who he's going to be an exclusive rights free agent. I think they bring him back. He was out for the year with a season-ending injury. Very fast, a former safety in his own right. Somebody that I think could, make some noise, especially in Raheem Morris's type of defense. Raheem Morris's type of defense. And then I think one other guy that needs to be said is Christian Roseboom from South Dakota State. Was really hoping he'd get an opportunity. He was in the practice squad all season long. They do really like him, and there was a thinking, that he could, move in there and take some reps away from a guy like Traven or one of those guys. And it never came to be, but they kept him on the roster for a reason, signed him to a futures deal. So that's definitely somebody I'm looking at. And then looking at the corners right now, hate to break it to you, but there's only 2 corners on the roster in Jalen Ramsey and David Long Jr. Darius Williams is going to be a restricted free agent, so the Rams can bring him back. I'm not saying they can't, but it's important to realize, though, that it's not a guarantee that he comes back. And I'm going to explain exactly what happens if that happens. It's not going to be good, and I think the Rams can withstand it, but it's not going to be good to lose a guy that I think, I was comparing to Antonio Cromartie. I mean, I thought he was just so great. His hands are awesome for a corner. Can truly high point the football, can pluck the football out of the air. He's only 5'9", but he plays he plays a lot taller than he really is. Uses his length well. So just kind of looking at this here, you're gonna have an issue at corner because if you don't get Darius Williams back, you will have what it looks like you will have Jalen Ramsey and David Long. And that's kind of it as far as that goes on the active roster right now. The Rams, they did sign Dante Dion and Tyreek McGee to the futures deals. But they're not, they're not guys. I don't know if they're definitely not ready to just come in and play. So that's definitely something that they'll have to look to. And I think if you look in the second round, if he's available, Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State is definitely something that they should consider. There's some good players in this draft, and corner is definitely something that I would be looking at if I were the Rams. Now, could they go in free agency? Could they bring back Troy Hill? I don't know. Personally, I think Troy Hill's gone. I'm expecting him to be gone. But you look at guys in this draft, and you start. I started with Asante Samuel Jr. I think he'll be there in the second round. Paulson Adebo, a bigger corner, 6'1", 190 out of Stanford. I think he could be there. I think Elijah Molden out of Washington, kind of built in the same mold as, say, kind of reminds me of Byron Murphy a little bit. So, kind of more physical, scrappy. Greg Newsome, the second out of Northwestern, 6'1". Eric Stokes out of Georgia may go in the first. That remains to be seen. 6'1" corner out of Georgia. Afitu Melifonwu from Syracuse, 6'2". Sean Wade out of Ohio State. That will be interesting, although a lot of people are saying he projects better to safety. And then Tyson Campbell from Georgia, 6'2", corner. I guess I'll throw another guy in that intrigues me. Robert Rochelle, 6 foot corner out of Central Arkansas. So there's definitely some guys in this class that the Rams should consider drafting. And look, you don't have the first round pick, and that's fine. But again, they have so much capital. I just think having 3/3 and they trade one away, they're gonna have 2/3. They're gonna have a second. They're gonna have a fourth. And they're definitely gonna trade down. They're gonna do a Les Snead thing. They're gonna trade down. They're gonna accumulate more picks. They kill it in the 6th, 7th. Doesn't matter what round. So I'm not worried. I do think they get Darius Williams back, by the way. So there's that. I did see somebody bring up Derek Rivers, and I just saw Joshua Brown. Hey, man, love the streams. Keep it up. Appreciate you, Joshua. That means a lot. Really appreciate the donation. As far as, I think it was Ram Dude, I want to say. Yeah, it was Ram Dude. What about Derek Rivers? Rivers is a free agent. That's a good mention there, because Rivers, I think, can be I think he can be on this roster. I think they could bring him back. I think he'll be relatively cheap. They can afford him. So that might be a guy that they bring back. But kind of looking at, the rest of the depth chart here, you have John Johnson, who, look, I'm going to say this right now. I've been saying John Johnson's out. He's gone. They're not going to be able to bring him back. And then they make this trade for Matthew Stafford. And all of a sudden, with the ability, because you couldn't have restructured Goff's deal because they were done with Goff. They weren't going to push that can down the road any more than it already was. So that restructure of Stafford, potential restructure of Stafford, potential restructure of Donald, Ramsey, Kupp, Woods, what have you, the Rams can bring back John Johnson, folks. And let me just say this. John Johnson isn't just a safety. I really thought about this, and I was saying if I was asked, I would be like, oh, yeah, I'd bring back Leonard Floyd over him. And now I've changed my mind, and here's why. I thought about it, and I said, well, the Rams let go of Adam Archuleta. They let go of Darian Stewart. They let go of Oshimigo Atagwe, Rodney McLeod, TJ McDonald, Mo Alexander, like a lot of safeties. But how many of them were calling a defense? There's no James Laurinaitis or London Fletcher on this defense. As much as I like Troy Reeder, none of those guys are calling the defense the way John Johnson has been doing it. Hell, he was doing it with Corey Littleton, who I love. So John Johnson, at the end of the day, means way more than any safety in recent memory for the Rams, because he does something that simply none of them have done. He has more responsibility. He is a big man in charge. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Chargers. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Lions. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back to the Rams. There's another team also, the Raiders, because his GM over there, or their GM over there, Mike Mayock, is from Boston College, knows him very well. So watch out for that. But John Johnson this year played like a top 5 to top 3 safety. So I think if the Rams bring him back, it makes a lot of sense. I don't think they're going to bring back Floyd because I think ultimately they feel like, well, Donald is just opening up so many opportunities for everyone else that, I don't know, maybe we could just plug anybody in there and give them an opportunity. So, I mean, I can't discredit what Floyd meant to this team this year, but I do agree that if I had to take Floyd or John Johnson, I'm going to roll with John Johnson. And I didn't bring that up for no reason. I brought it up because it came up because John Johnson tweeted, or not tweeted, let me see here. He posted an Instagram story with it was a picture of the Rams defense. And then he had something very interesting after that that I'm trying to find right now. So he had a thank you God at 4 hours ago, and then he had a picture with the Rams beforehand. That could be anything. Again, I'm not going to read too much into it, but I think it's very interesting. If John Johnson wants to come back, one thing is, I don't know why he's tweeting thank you God. It could be he wanted Jared Goff out of there, and they thought they were a bad situation. I doubt it. Could be that he wanted Jared Goff out of there because he wants to go back and wants, he likes Matthew Stafford, maybe. Or it could be that the Rams called him up and said, hey, we just traded for Stafford. We found an option and a way to bring you back, and would you like to come back? I mean, it could be that. So, we'll see. And we're going to find out pretty soon within the next few months. So, I mean, I think John Johnson makes a lot of sense. I thought he was a little overrated by Rams fans, but now I'm starting to think he's a little underrated with how quickly people moved on from him, and he's not even out the door yet. So that's an interesting one. Terrell Burgess is somebody that I love. First off, friend of the podcast, friend of mine. We've texted. He's a great dude. He's been on here. So I mean, look, Terrell Burgess, I think, is somebody that can play the nickel. But I also think that at the end of the day, he can play safety. He can play both safety positions. Hits hard, but he's a great tackler, wraps up, form tackle, great pad level, all of that. Click and close type of guy. He can play corner if he really needs to. But, I think you're probably going to see him in the nickel. You're probably going to see Taylor Rapp and Jordan Fuller at the safety spots. And look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they put him. I think ultimately they're going to be fine. One thing that you need to keep in mind is that Nick Scott, because, Taylor Rapp got hurt, it allowed somebody like Nick Scott to come in in a next man up type of league. And Nick Scott comes in and he balls out. He made a mistake in the Packers game that ultimately cost them probably a touchdown, given up to Devontae Adams. But aside from that, he was awesome down the stretch. Awesome. He's really turned himself into something that the Rams can use. And once again, it's not a shock. It goes to show you exactly why they have no care. They don't hate picks. Everyone keeps saying, screw the picks, right? That's what Snead thinks. Snead just says, screw first-round picks. He likes picks. He likes the 7th round, the 6th round, the 5th round, the 4th round, the 3rd round, 2nd round. He doesn't like the first. And keep this in mind, the first actually costs more, so it could be a money thing. You do have that 5th-year option, which adds flexibility, but it could be a money thing, and that they don't want to do it, and they kind of view it as like, well, we're constantly, the goal is to win a Super Bowl here in Los Angeles, and we're constantly picking in 26 to 32 range. There's no point. That's what they kind of feel. So I don't blame them. And a lot of these teams haven't gotten with the program yet with that. So that's something to keep in mind. They also have some other guys at safety. You have Juju Hughes and J.R. Reed. Reed was a UDFA out of Georgia, and Juju Hughes is he's the guy that is famous from his Hard Knocks appearance, the toothpick guy, but he's from Fresno State. And they have a good-looking team, but I think Stafford turns this team into a Super Bowl team. I think Stafford, as long as they keep him upright, he's going to win the MVP. And so, looking at, looking at this here, we're going to put up the salary cap, and we're going to manage the salary cap here. The Rams right now, so they're going to restructure Stafford, although what I'll say right now is that you have to do some, there we go. You have to fool around with it a little bit because it's kind of messed up with Spotrac. But they're going to restructure Stafford. Say they restructure Ramsey and Donald. So they're around the -1 million cap space. Okay. So Spotrac just recently updated their cap, and that's that. So they were down 43. Stafford saves 15. Donald restructure saves 14. Ramsey restructure saves 13. And we're here with -1 million. So now you can restructure Kupp. Kupp would give you $6 million there. Woods would give you $9 million. So you're at 13. I understand it's a lot of restructuring, but this is a team thing. Now let's say you trade away, Havenstein. Let's just say you trade him to, I don't know, where do you trade him to? You trade him to the Jets or something, right? You get a pick. So let's just say you get a pick. So now you trade Havenstein, saves you $5 million. And so what that does is it's going to make it $19 million. Then you restructured Stafford, you restructured Donald, you restructured Ramsey, Kupp, Woods. Now Brockers, what happens there? It doesn't really save you much, so you wouldn't do that. Whitworth is interesting. It's only $2 million, but with Whitworth, he's either going to retire and you're not going to have to really incur any of that, or you'll have him again next year and it'll be like a fully guaranteed basis. As far as cutting guys, there's not really much you can do because A'Shawn Robinson incurs a -$2 million cap hit. Leonard Floyd, of course, is not on the roster. If you see him on Spotrac right now, he's going to be there. It's a dummy year. So he's a free agent. It was put in to make things work with the numbers. I'm not really sure what goes on there, but that's how that works. The Rams, according to Spotrac, would be eating over $30 million this year with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley. If they trade away Havenstein, they'd be eating $3.1 million at 29 years old. I think it makes sense to trade away Havenstein or cut him or restructure him. So now you look at $19 million. But here's another thing: the Rams could also make something happen if they decide to do a contract extension, with Matthew Stafford. And I know I've already seen the reports that are saying that they won't do that, but I've also seen reports saying that is the plan. So we'll see as it gets closer. But if they do it with Matthew Stafford, you can free up to like $10 to $20 million in cap. There's so many things that they can do. They can rework Donald's deal, Ramsey's deal, any of those deals. The Rams are going to figure out a way to get guys that they want to get. It's that simple. And I do think they can get John Johnson back. Appreciate AZZA. Aaron Donald is now our first pick on the team. Our last first pick on the team. Yeah, that's true, actually. It's pretty crazy if you think about it. All right. So I've been talking a lot, and someone told me to get a drink of water, and I should have done that a while ago. I don't think they cut Hecker. Now, let's see here. So if they cut Hecker, yeah, I mean, it doesn't really save a whole lot. It saves about $2.6 million, and you lose the best punter in the NFL. I know people are down on Hecker, but they need to, you guys need to keep in mind, he got hurt. He got hurt in the Seattle game, and he was not the same since. So I think that it had to do with it. But, I mean, it's interesting here, with Higbee. Like, you could rework that deal. I mean, there's so many things they can do. The only thing they can't do is restructure A'Shawn Robinson's deal. A'Shawn Robinson's deal this year is $4.2 million. That's his cap figure. It's not going to save you anything to do anything with him. It's only going to hurt you. So they're not going to touch. A'Shawn Robinson will 100% be a Ram in 2021 unless he does something crazy where they have to cut him. Johnny Hecker, I think, will be a Ram in 2021. Obviously, Stafford. I think Higbee, obviously, Kupp, Ramsey, Brockers, Whitworth, Donald. With all the restructures, the biggest cap hit would be Aaron Donald at 13 million, Andrew Whitworth at 11, Brockers at 9, Ramsey at 9, Kupp at 8.1, Tyler Higbee at 7.1, Stafford at 5, Johnny Hecker at 4.9, Robert Woods at 4.7, Ashawn Robinson at 4.2. So I mean, really, what's hurting the Rams? It's the 30 million in dead cap money that they're saving. They're taking on Goff, the 22 million in dead money, and they're taking on Todd Gurley, 8 million in dead money. That's really what's happening. Appreciate you, Mark. Need to help Donald Super Bowl run had Sue. Yeah, I agree with you there. I think Ndamukong Suh is huge for them. Nobody's beating Kansas City. Doesn't matter if Rams make the Super Bowl. What makes you think that, though, Antonio? Not to call you out, but I'm curious why you think that. Because I here's the thing. I think Kansas City's a little overrated. I think they haven't faced a team that can truly strike fear in them since the Rams in 2018. Well, here's the funny thing. I think the Rams are that team again. I think they have a better defense. So they have that offense now, but I think they have a better defense. Yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on Jared Goff, by the way? Saying he was really excited going to a team that wants him and appreciates him. The Chiefs are beatable. They are. I mean, I just think with the Chiefs, I understand why everyone loves them, but it's Mahomes there. It's Tyreek Hill. It's Travis Kelce. Who's on their defense aside from Tyrann Mathieu and Chris Jones? I feel like this Kansas City defense is getting overrated because they're in the Super Bowl, but I'm their offense is putting them there. I'm not really high on their defense, to be honest with you. I never have been. I don't think they focus on defense enough. I think, excuse me, I think Spagnuolo gets the most out of them. He's a great coordinator, but I don't think that they do enough to, push the envelope and get better on defense. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll figure it out, but right now I just don't feel that way. You didn't like it, Rams House? So I understand Goff saying it because he's saying, what happened? I was the guy and I was loved and now I'm not loved. And, I think reality hit Goff. It was always there. He was holding back the team. And then I think eventually, reality hit him in the face and he wasn't doing his job and he got fired, basically. Not fired, but traded. I think, but I get it from his perspective as well. Here's the thing. The Rams paid him. So the idea that they never appreciate him is wrong. But I guess he's saying right now, I'll say this. I think to me, go back to when Goff got paid. I think that was a higher up thing. I've been saying that for a while. Look at Demoff. Look at Tony Pastors. I don't think Kroenke really cares. I think Kroenke just wants to win. I don't think he has an attachment to anybody. But Kevin Demoff, I feel like he was definitely closer to Goff than many. And that's the way it was. And by the way, I forget who put it up on Twitter, but the guy said, one of the reporters, I think he was either for the Lions or just an NFL reporter in general, he said that, Jared Goff, by the way, the guy that put the he pounded the table for him, it was Brad Holmes. So it's definitely that's definitely interesting, right? I don't know. I mean, I think he has a right to say what he did. Doesn't make me like Jared Goff any less. No. Yeah, I get that. Jared Goff going to Mike Silver is bothering you. I get that. I mean, I feel like that he confides in him. That's cool and everything, but I don't know. Yeah. I think, I don't know. One thing I'll say is that I've been seeing a lot of the like the bigger media circuit here. They've been backing Goff and they've been trashing the Rams. I don't agree with that. And one thing I actually have to point out, Bucky Brooks, who I respect, even though he totally cut me off, not him, but one of his assistants cut me off in my interview with Van Jefferson. That's why I never got that interview with Van Jefferson at the Senior Bowl. Still kind of pissed about that. But anyway, Bucky Brooks said straight up that basically Sean McVay well, let me just pull up the tweet. Okay, I'm not going to try and paraphrase it. Let's just quote it. So let's see here. We got, I'm trying to find it. I mean, I don't know where it went. It was right here. Where'd it go? Okay, here it is. So Bucky Brooks tweeted out, "Is it fair to say that Sean McVay falls out of love quickly with his stars based on his track record with Jared Goff and Todd Gurley? Something to consider. Love him and leave him in LA. Everyone in the league has an ego. I think McVay's treatment of his stars should be discussed. Like most coaches, he values his system and thinks it creates stars. There's a fine line, though. Great players make schemes pop. He needs to keep that in mind." So I personally don't like this. Okay, and Bucky is totally fine to say what he does. George, appreciate you. Damn. I didn't even notice. Thank you so much for the donation. Appreciate you. First time drop in, Rams fan. First saw Gabriel Long to Snow enjoying the stream. Thank you so much, George. I appreciate it. Now I have to crank it up a notch because that was a hefty donation there. Really appreciate you. So yeah, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say I don't like this from Bucky Brooks. He has every right to say what he wants. I'm not saying he can't talk. I'm a firm believer in freedom of speech and all that. But I'm just going to say this. I think it's garbage. I think it's absolute garbage to go at McVay like that. Kind of the way I thought it was garbage the way the LA Times went at Sean McVay for not hiring a certain color of skin on a coach after he hired a black coach in Raheem Morris. I'm not going to go further into that because I don't want to make it a big deal here. I don't want to cross over into that realm. We've talked about it a little bit. I know it makes people uncomfortable. I'm not trying to do that. But with Bucky Brooks here saying that Sean McVay is basically right now, he's just like, well, I need my guys. I need my stars. And then he's not treating them well. Well, look, okay, here's the thing. Sean McVay revitalized C.J. Anderson's career. Okay, C.J. Anderson comes out of nowhere off his couch, and all of a sudden he's running for 100 yards, setting records with Todd Gurley in the divisional round against the Cowboys. So let's not forget that. He's not just a guy going after stars. So I don't want to hear that. One. Two, let's not act. I'm the biggest Todd Gurley fan out there. Okay, I don't think he's been treated fairly at all. But if you don't like him, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to try to change your mind. Todd Gurley, there's a reason they moved on from Todd Gurley. Okay, Todd Gurley lost all the burst he had. Todd Gurley was not the same running back. So don't try to tell me that they did Todd Gurley dirty. They gave him a ton of money. They're still paying him. And at the end of the day, he can't be what they wanted him to be. He can't live up to that. He's got an arthritic knee. So that's BS. I don't like that. Brandon Cooks. You could argue Brandon Cooks, he had the concussion stuff. He had his, a down year. This is somebody I know they paid long term, but I've said it before. I'll say it again. The Rams got rid of Brandon Cooks because straight up, Jared Goff couldn't get him the football. This is why they didn't have a deep threat. I've been saying this. That's why they got rid of him. Now, I feel bad for Cooks, and I rooted for him this year for that. But I do think McVay really cared about Cooks. I think they really liked him, but they also had to make a tough decision because it's a business, and they had to decide whether or not they were going to keep Cooper Kupp, who Jared Goff can get the ball to, or maybe risk losing Cooper Kupp so they can keep Brandon Cooks, who he can't even fully maximize his potential. Now, I don't like this from Bucky Brooks for that reason, but I also don't like it for another reason. Why is he painting him out to be Chip Kelly? I did not like Chip Kelly. I didn't like him on Oregon. I thought he was a gimmick guy. And I'll tell you right now, Chip Kelly's offense was abysmal in the NFL. Abysmal. And there are reasons that we don't know, but he randomly was just like, I'm just going to trade LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson, even though those are two of our star players. So don't compare Sean McVay, who takes a team that went 4-12, he turns a quarterback that looked so abysmal in his rookie year from 0-7 to an 11-5 quarterback to then a 13-3 Super Bowl appearing quarterback. Don't you dare compare him to the likes of guys like Chip Kelly and Mark Trestman, who try to make everybody work in their system. That's a load of garbage. It's a load of garbage. Sean McVay deserves a lot more respect than that. This is somebody, and I honestly think he just doesn't get enough credit. It's so bizarre to me. It really blows my mind how I can say this about a guy that ultimately he should get all the credit in the world. And there are times, look, he's not perfect. He's still growing. He's a 35-year-old head coach. But from the get-go, we heard how he was the wrong hire because he was too young. He proved everyone wrong. And now it's Sean McVay and wow. I can't. Abe, oh my God. You guys are like, I can't stress it enough. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate you guys. Abe T, love your content, bro. Keep up the good work. Longtime Rams fans, bring back Flipper Anderson. Over 300 yards. So are we going to ever see that record broken? That's a question. Appreciate you, Abe. That means so much to me. That's the biggest donation I've ever received. Anybody that donates to me, it really means a lot. I'm sitting here just talking. I'm just talking with you guys. We're having some fun. But the fact that you're, helping me out, supporting my channel, you believe in what I'm saying, you have, the trust in what I'm saying, really appreciate that. So I can't stress that enough. What I'll say in regards to the Bucky Brooks comment is that I think I tweeted about it. Let's see here. So I said, I don't know about this. Pretty clear Wolford could run. Pretty clear. Oh, this is another one. Sorry about this. I forgot. I left this part out with Bucky Brooks. Who is the mid to late round guy that he's elevated at quarterback or running back? The reason Shanahan's system is popular is due to the part of it, Kirk Cousins, Alfred Morris in Washington, Mike and Kyle. McVay has only done it with top 10 guys. Maybe his system isn't so great without stars. That is an absolute load of shit. And I never curse on here. I try to avoid it. But that is complete trash. If you are going to say that Sean McVay can only work with stars, let me tell you this right now. You are absolutely wrong. Goff was not a star. Goff wasn't a star when he got him. He could have easily gone out and gotten anybody else, and he got Jared Goff, who was coming off an 0-7 season and looked abysmal. He went out and got C.J. Anderson when all hope seemed lost, turned C.J. Anderson into a star in that moment. Todd Gurley, the high school offense comment, the running for 800 yards, he turns him into Marshall Faulk, technically, like the most dominant running back in football in 2 seasons. Robert Woods, I've been pounding the table for Robert Woods since the NFL draft, which he came out of. Was a big fan of his at USC. He goes to the Bills. They are a run-first offense. They only use Sammy Watkins. They never used Robert Woods. Anytime Robert Woods would play on primetime, though, he would go off. And so I've been saying, when Robert Woods is available, 24 years old, $8 million per year, Rams should do it. They literally gave him the contract that I wanted them to give him. It was the greatest thing ever. That's Sean McVay. And Sean McVay turned him into a 1,000-yard receiver and one of the underrated receivers in the league. What about Sean McVay turning a third-round receiver that played at Eastern Washington into one of the most dynamic receivers after the catch in Cooper Kupp? So we're not going to give him credit for that? What about Tyler Higbee, a 4th-round pick out of Western Kentucky that literally people were like, trash. He's gone. Get rid of him. What about Pharoh Cooper, a 4th-round return guy for South Carolina? I mean, this is my thing. This is garbage. This is absolute garbage for him to say that. It pisses me off, to be honest with you folks. How about Austin Corbett? They go out and get Austin Corbett. Austin Corbett, all right, let's hold up here. I like this guy at the Senior Bowl, okay? I like this guy. He was the 33rd overall pick by the Browns. They gave up on him in 2 seconds. So he was a bust. The Rams go out and get him for like a 5th rounder in 2 years from now or whatever they traded for him. He comes in and instantly does his job. They went out and got Austin Blythe. Sean McVay is doing everything he can to make everyone around him better, okay? He is not just a guy that coaches stars. I just think that's such a garbage comment, and the fact that he used Kyle Shanahan to justify that is a joke. Like, we're going to act like Kyle Shanahan doesn't have a first-round pick, or second-round pick in Deebo Samuel, a first-round pick in Brandon Ayuk. Like, we're really just going to act like that's not the case. George Kittle, who's a superstar. I know George Kittle is a 5th rounder. George Kittle is a superstar. Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not really high on Jimmy Garoppolo, but they spent $27 million on him. It's not like he's turning, John Wolford into something. And by the way, when John Wolford played, he ran the Rams offense very well. Sean McVay put him in a position to succeed. It's a load of crap. Sorry, I had to rant. I'm done with that. Not done with ranting, but I'm done with that type of that narrative needs to go to East Jesus nowhere. For those of you that know Green Day, that's I totally threw that out there. But thanks Jody, appreciate it. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I'm also trying not to blow my mind. Yeah, I was just talking offensive line. Our offensive side of the ball. But, I mean, yeah, there's guys that absolutely have developed. And honestly, look, Sean McVay deserves credit for the coaches he brings in. Also, another thing, you want to say, oh, well, it's top 10, always top 10 players, always stars. Okay, then why is everybody on God's green earth poaching his coaches? Does McVay not get credit for that too? I mean, come on. So, I mean, McVay already has 3 coaches in his coaching tree. Who could say that at age 35? I'll tell you. No one. No one. Thank you, AZZA. I appreciate you. Cup and Woods, modern day Holt and Bruce, never tandem. Tony J. Jake speaks more truth in 5 minutes than ESPN does in a year. Oh my God, that's funny. Hey, I'm only gonna give you the facts, or at least what I believe are the facts. I'm done. I'm tired of these narratives. Shut it off. I'm so tired of it. Like, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Here's another narrative for you, okay? Marvin Jones isn't a deep threat. I've heard that a lot. I've heard he's a possession receiver. Fine. If you think that, absolutely fine. But here's why you shouldn't think that. 4.46 at the combine. He had 978 yards on 76 receptions, 9 touchdowns, okay? But here's the thing. The most 20-plus yard receiving plays in 2020, he had 19. Tyreek Hill had 20. He was on Tyreek Hill's level as far as deep shot plays down the field. So, I'm telling you right now, somebody like that could really, really help the offense. But let's get into what this offense could be. Matthew Stafford, as long as you keep him upright, is going to win. He's going to win the MVP. He's going to. He's been waiting for this moment. He's been waiting for a coach. He buys in. Everything I've been hearing about Matthew Stafford's connection to Sean McVay makes me very happy. He wanted to go here. He's here. This is a win-win trade for everybody because I feel like Jared Goff needed a fresh start. Not that Sean McVay did anything wrong, but I think at the end of the day, those two were growing apart from each other. Here's the thing. it has been happening for a while, but I think finally the straw that broke the camel's back was when he broke his thumb and John Wolford came in. And then when he played John Wolford in the playoff game first over Jared Goff, that said something. So I think that needs to be said. Appreciate you, Joshua Brown. What's your Rams 2021 record prediction? Well, hey, you know what? Let's look at the let's look at who they're going to play, and I'll go down the list. Sound good? So we're going to go to the 2021 schedule, which hasn't come out yet, of course, but I know who they're going to play. So let's see here if I can get a list of people. Okay. So the Rams in 2021, they start out. Well, they don't start out. Don't mind me. Okay. And this is the list, and this is what they're telling me. So at Arizona, I think they win. I think they sweep Arizona again. So 2-0. At Green Bay, I'll give Green Bay the win. I'll give Green Bay the win. 2-1. At Houston, they beat Houston. At Indy, they beat Indy. So where are we at right now? 2, 3, 4, 4-1. I think they win one of the matchups with the 49ers. I'll say at SoFi, so 5-1, 5-2. Seattle, I think they beat Seattle. I think they beat Seattle twice. So 6-2, 7-2. Chicago, 8-2. Detroit, 9-2. Jacksonville, 10-2. Tennessee, 11-2. Tampa, 12-2. At Minnesota, 13-2. At New York Giants, 14-2. I have the Rams going 14-2. So that's where I'm at. Oh, thank you, Brandon. Appreciate it. What up, Jake? Let's go. People don't understand the level of quarterback player we were about to have to ask Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I mean, look, I've said it. You know, Matthew Stafford is Aaron Rodgers light. He's really going to help out the Rams. Oh, they do play the Ravens. I don't know why they weren't on the list. Okay, so I'm going to say 14-3. I'll give them a loss against the Ravens. 14-3. Good call. Good call, Rams house. That was nice. Yeah, I'm gonna say 14-3. So that's good enough to win the NFC, in my opinion. And let's look at the teams. Okay, you have the Saints. The Saints are not gonna have Drew Brees. We don't know who's gonna start. To be honest, if it's Taysom Hill, yikes. Like, I mean, big yikes. If it's Jameis Winston, I think they win 10 games with Winston, maybe 11. But we don't know who's going to start for the Saints, and they also have $99 million in cap penalty right now, or over $99 million in cap. So they don't have a lot of space at all. They have negative 99 space. So I think they fall out of it. Green Bay is an interesting one. I do think Rodgers comes back. He gets a deal done. They extend him, and then, you know, the Packers are back in the thick of things. I think it'll be really interesting to see Matt LaFleur with a new defense. We'll see how that goes. They are moving on from Mike Pettin, so that'll be interesting. So you have those. I think the Packers are going to stay up here. The Rams are going to be up here. I think the Rams are the number 1 seed in the NFC right now. I think the Packers are number 2. And then you look, and the 49ers are interesting. It looks like they're going to stick with Jimmy Garoppolo, which is really surprising. But I think that they will be kind of below the Rams and Packers, so I'd probably put them in the 6, 7, 8 range. Maybe they miss the playoffs again. I don't know. Seattle, very interesting. They're going to get Shane Waldron here as their OC. This was Russell Wilson's hand-picked guy, so likely Russell Wilson wanted to play in a Sean McVay type of offense. They'll get that. That'll help. I don't think it necessarily will make them amazing, but I think it will help. I would probably say that they're third, fourth, or fifth type of team. The Arizona Cardinals, expect big strides from them. I'm very interested to see what they do on the defensive side of the ball. I think the offense is going to, be, explosive. But the defensive side of the ball is definitely going to be something that I'm going to be, looking in on and seeing if they can take that next step. I think Arizona does make the playoffs. Then you have to look at, a team like the Bears. What are the Bears doing? The Bears talked about getting Jared Goff. It's clear that it seems to me like they don't want to trot out Mitch Trubisky or Nick Foles next year. The Bears are an interesting one. They have a really good defense with Chuck Pagano. I think they need a legitimate quarterback, but they got a young running back that looked really good last year in David Montgomery. I've been really low on. Do they bring back Allen Robinson? That's the question. So I think the Bears are an interesting team, probably around the 6, 7, 8 range. Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, look, are they going to bring back Chris Godwin? What's going to happen there? I don't think Tom Brady playing at 44, is going to be on another Super Bowl or anything like that, but who knows? We'll see. Tampa Bay, to me, you could say 4, 5, 6 range. I think the Rams and Packers are by far the favorites in the NFC. The Falcons are interesting. What happens with them? Does Arthur Smith turn them into a formidable foe? I don't think so. I think they're a few years away. Maybe they get Trey Lance or somebody like that, Justin Fields. I'm going to say that they missed the playoffs. So we talked about the NFC West. I talked a little bit about the NFC North. Now, the Vikings are an interesting one. What is going on there? I look at the defense, and I thought that they were a severe liability. I thought the offense moved the ball well. And at times, I still felt like they kind of were held back a little bit. So what happens there? I don't know. I think the Vikings are a fringe playoff team again, unless they make a significant move. I don't think Kirk Cousins is enough. I think they actually have to go out and get probably another guy. So actually look for them on draft night. See if they make a move. Maybe they go out and they shock people. Who knows? Now, the Lions are an interesting one. And before you write off the Lions, I'll say this. I think Jared Goff makes sense for them. I think, with what Brad Holmes is doing, and the fact that it sounds to me like Jared Goff is going to be their guy, I'll say this. I won't be surprised if they, try to draft and build around him. They have a really good offensive line. They have guys like Taylor Decker and Frank Ragnow that I really like, and Tyrell Crosby as well, friend of the podcast out of Oregon. So they have 3 guys that I like on that offensive line, that really stand out. They have finally a legit running back in DeAndre Swift. They have a solid defensive personnel. They're going to need to get Goff some weapons. So I think the Rams might have given the Lions enough ammunition to move up and go out and maybe get a Devontae Smith in this draft, which would open up things over the top for Jared Goff if he magically does want to throw deep down the field and he gets that deep ball back. If he doesn't, though, I think they're going to have to look at guys that can make plays in the short and intermediate game, and can make plays after the catch. Curtis Samuel makes the most sense to me, somebody that can really work after the catch. So the Lions, they'll be an interesting team for sure, and I like what Dan Campbell's building. It's a great-looking coaching staff. I'm not willing to say that they're going to make the playoffs. I'm not also willing to say that they're going to miss it. They're kind of a 50-50. It's all dependent on really what do they surround Jared Goff with? Now, looking at the Panthers, I think they are a team, and they are aggressive after Deshaun Watson. So if they acquire Deshaun Watson, this team vaults up to, the third team in the NFC. And I think a lot of those games, Matt Rule had them, they had an opportunity to win those games. I'm losing my voice now, so I'm gonna get a water. There we go. Sorry. I So Matt Rule, he had the not the Lions. He had the Panthers in almost every game. Without Christian McCaffrey and with Teddy Bridgewater. So you add somebody like Deshaun Watson to the table, and it changes everything. So I think that'll be definitely interesting. Or if they get like a Dak Prescott, they're going to be a top 3 team in the NFC. Then you look at, we talked about the Saints, the Falcons, the Bucs, the Panthers. Then you look at the NFC East. And in the East, you look at the Giants. Personally, I'm calling for Deshaun Watson. I wouldn't be going in this year thinking, Daniel Jones is my guy, but it looks like they're probably going to do that. So I don't think that they're going to be really able to compete much this year. I think they might be able to make the playoffs since they almost made it this past year, but I don't know. Washington, to me, once again, comes out as by far the favorites in the NFC East. Washington is going to get a quarterback. We'll see who, but they are a quarterback away, so they could be the fourth NFC team. And then you have the Eagles, who have all sorts of weird stuff going on. Is it going to be Wentz? Is it going to be Hurts? What's going on with this team? What's the future of this team? I don't know. Nick Sirianni just took over. We'll see with that team. Not super high on them. Maybe down the road they can be something. Not super high on them this year. And then the Dallas Cowboys, if they keep Dak Prescott, they have a shot, but they need to build that defense. Dak Prescott was putting up unbelievable numbers on that offense. They need a defense. They need to draft for a defense. So that is the NFC, folks. This is why I think it's the Rams, it's the Packers, and then whoever gets Deshaun Watson in the NFC, if that happens, they'd be in the top three. But I think the Saints are going to fall off, and I think it's the Rams and Packers again, but they're playing in the NFC title game. That's where it's going to be Rodgers versus Stafford, I think. So, What are your guys' thoughts? Where do the Rams finish in the NFC? Yeah, I don't like McCarthy either. I felt like he held back Rodgers, to be honest with you. I was actually just looking at the history of the Bears and recently, and Rex Grossman was terrible. That can't be stated enough. Rex Grossman was terrible, and then Jay Cutler was honestly terrible. Had a lot of talent and just must have never put the work in or whatever. Because I don't know how. I mean, you could argue Trubisky's the best quarterback the Bears have had in a long time, and I think that's why that they're interested in somebody like Watson. Because they realize that, and that's not good. I'm a little higher on Trubisky than most, but it's not that I think Trubisky can be a superstar or anything like that. I just think if you develop him, he can be used the same way the Rams used Goff. And depending on who your offense or who your offensive mind is, that might be good enough. The new DC is terrible for us, though. Are you a Rams fan? ASZPO? Bears should trade for Goff. Well, I don't think the Lions are trading Goff. I think that's the guy that they wanted. Bears should get Big Ben. I don't think the Steelers are trading Big Ben, to be honest with you. The new DC but who's your team ASZPO? Is it the Rams? Because I'm a big fan of Raheem Morris. Are you talking about Chuck Pagano? Are you a Bears fan? Are you a Lions fan? Bucks still the NFC team to beat in 2021. Okay, you're a Rams fan. I'm a big fan of Raheem Morris. What do you not like about Raheem Morris? Sounds good, Slap. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of Raheem Morris. I think he's 100% legit. I think this defense is going to be top 10. And quite honestly, with Stafford and this offense, this is going to be the best offense in football next year. It's going to be better than the Chiefs. I have no doubt. As long as everybody stays healthy, no one's stopping this offense. We haven't seen what Sean McVay can truly do. That's why I'm so excited. I think Raheem Morris can go back-to-back seasons, turn this defense back into a first overall defense. Yeah, I don't think it's far-fetched. Report came out that the Rams tried to get Rodgers. I mean, I love to hear that. I'm still so happy about I'm still so happy about Stafford. It's just so cool. Oh, by the way, folks, and I see a bunch of people following me. I follow back, by the way. On Twitter, you can follow me at JKBoganDTSN. You can find that. It's the Twitter, right below, you can see latest donator, Brandon Barnes. Right below Brandon Barnes, you'll see, right below the subscribers, you'll see JKBoganDTSN. Who is the best all-around roster? I mean, the problem is the next season hasn't really started yet. The offseason hasn't really started. But as far as the best all-around roster, it's probably going to be, it might be the Rams, to be honest with you. Stafford was literally the missing piece. That's a good question, John. I don't know. I mean, I think not Stafford. I think McVay is going to look at some of the college ranks and see if he can pick up some guys because he just lost his passing game coordinator. So that's something to keep in mind. Yeah, but Wolford threw a touchdown pass that Gerald Everett dropped. And he handed it off to Cam Akers, who fumbled at the 1-yard line. So, yeah, Stafford is on a real team now. By the way, welcome all the Lions fans that have come over to the Rams side of things, are jumping on the bandwagon to support Matthew Stafford. I don't care how you're a Rams fan. I just care that you're here. And, of course, this isn't just a Rams channel, but it's really been taken over by amazing Rams fans that support this channel. Again, a lot of you people, a lot of people here, you guys get, I will literally talk about whatever on this channel. It's mainly Rams, but it's whatever's on my mind, and I appreciate that you guys hear me out on it. That's why, when I was talking about the NFC, and I didn't see, there weren't a lot of people leaving. Plus, is this the norm now? Are we always going to have over 400 people in the live? I mean, this is awesome. This is special, folks. I mean, we haven't touched 600, but I wasn't even expecting to touch 300 today. This is really cool. I never want to see Everett again. All right. Let's start an Ask Me Anything. So let's go. Ask me anything. I'll just, whatever. Make it appropriate, of course. But yeah, ask me anything about this team, about whatever. Stafford, I think he's going to wear 9. I think Wolford will probably move over to, I mean, it's weird. He only wore 10 and 7. And one is retired by Bob Waterfield, and the other is Cooper Kupp's number. So we'll see. But I think it's going to be, I think Stafford is going to be number 9. Let's see. Where does John Wolf fit in all this? Well, he's the backup. They like him a lot. Where if Stafford were to, God forbid, go down, Wolford could lead this offense. Stafford only had 11 100-yard rushers in 12-game career. He will ball with Akers. Totally agree with you, Ashton. That's where I'm at. I said that earlier. Just kind of feel like, that's kind of where we're headed. Will there be a new uniform for the Rams next season? There will. I'm really excited. I don't know what it's going to be, but I will say that I've heard tips on it being a black uniform. Now, in the NFL, that's kind of hit or miss, but, the Eagles ones, the black uniforms and the Eagles and the Ravens look really nice. They really pop on TV. So, we'll see. If it's a black and kind of like an LA Knights type of thing with, the Lakers, then I think the Rams will pull it off well. I like how Gerald Everett is elusive, but he can't catch very well. Yeah, that's been it. That's been his thing. He's very elusive at South Alabama. He generated more missed tackles than any tight end in the 2017 draft, but he's got an issue catching the football. Coming over with Stafford from Detroit. Well, welcome, Thomas. Happy to have you. When do you think Stafford jersey will be ready? Okay, so here's an interesting thing to keep in mind is that why you might not have seen any reactions about Jared Goff leaving the Rams, why teammates may not have chimed in or anything like that. It's a weird thing here because this trade was agreed upon, but it wasn't official until March. So they can't even sell Matthew Stafford merchandise until March. So a jersey won't be ready until March. And we probably won't even know his number until March. I was just reading that, and let's see. Yeah, you know how this works. I've told you guys. I try to read these comments in YouTube, auto, whatever you want to call it. It's ridiculous. It just auto corrects itself and moves it down, and I just lost all those. Ask me whatever question you asked me before because I just lost it. You need to make it a Rams channel. Maybe. I don't know. I'm a big, big NFL fan. So as much as I love my Rams, I love talking about whatever I want. I have a Rams podcast, Downtown Rams, with Alexis Kraft. So I don't want to keep it separate from Downtown Rams because I do think that Downtown Rams can benefit from having this ever posted on their account and all that. But at the same time, I do want to keep it my thing. That's why it's the Jake Ellenbogen channel. I'm trying to, build my personal brand. But if it's all we talk about is the Rams, I guess, maybe you're right. You have something. There's something there. I don't know. Some people are forgetting that there's 17 games. That's true. Do you think they will promote Chris Shula? That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, he has really good communication with Sean McVay, rapport. They've been around for a while in the coaching ranks. They've worked their way up. They're friends. I could see that happening. Yeah. What do you think the offense is going to look? What do you think the offense is going to look now? I mean, I think it's going to be Stafford, Akers, Henderson, Woods, Kupp, Van, Higbee, and Bryson Hopkins. I think they're going to add a deep threat to the roster. I would love Marvin Jones. I'm expecting somebody like Marvin Hall. Marvin Hall would be great too, but Marvin Jones is going to be an all-around receiver. Marvin Hall is just going to stretch the field. And he's very short, so he's not going to go up and pluck the ball out of the air the way Marvin Jones can. You think Clowney on the Rams makes sense? Ram dude, I think it does actually. He had a really bad year last year for the Titans. Really unfortunate. I think it was a 1-year deal. If he's available, I feel like his stock is at an all-time low. He has to get it back up. If he plays with Aaron Donald, his stock is going to go through the roof. So I definitely think it makes sense. Let's relax with the Super Bowl talk next season, but Stafford can add more touchdowns to the offense. The defense can replicate, then we will really be a threat. David, I think the Super Bowl talk is real, though. It's not getting ahead of ourselves because this is a team that played in the divisional round, and with a quarterback with a broken thumb, they had a chance. They had 2 opportunities down 7 in a hostile environment of Lambeau Field against who I believe is the best quarterback in football in Aaron Rodgers, and they had a chance to win. So I don't think it's far-fetched to think that this team can easily go back to there and can go through and win a Super Bowl, especially with Stafford. Let's see. Stafford and Wolford are going to be the next Breeze Hill combo. Keep in mind, though, Taysom Hill is huge. Like, he's built. He looks like a running back / tight end. Wolford's not. So using him that same way could lead to the same thing that we saw against Jamal Adams. He might not be big enough to do that consistently. What do you think about Jalen Hurts? I like Hurts. I like Hurts a lot. I said it. I liked him more than Tua at Alabama, and I watched a lot of Alabama because I liked them. But I always liked Hurts a lot more than everyone else. When Hurts went to Oklahoma, though, that's when it really clicked, and you realize that, okay, he's not just a developmental prospect. He has a chance to go first round in this draft. And sure enough, he went second. So I like Hurts a lot, and I like Wentz. So we'll see who they start. I think they should definitely consider trading one or the other to maybe Carolina. Might make sense. Who should we target in free agency? I mean, I'm looking at the receivers right now. I'm just thinking, one of the deep threats I mentioned earlier, Marvin Jones makes sense. Marvin Hall, John Ross, Curtis Samuel, see how much he would cost. Antonio Brown's an interesting one, although I know a lot of people would not want his attitude on the roster. And to be honest, I wouldn't want it either. But, I think there's a lot there that you could say. Let's see. Trying to go through these questions. Oh, appreciate you. The Gridiron Blitz. As a Detroit Lions fan, I had to watch Barry and Calvin walk away from this team. Stafford was primed to do the same. I'm sorry folks are doing Goff so wrong. I think Marvin Jones comes to L.A. Well, I appreciate you so much for donating. And you know what? I really would love Marvin Jones to come to L.A. I for a while I thought he was a little overrated. But going back and realizing he's not overrated. He's a damn good football player. He might be underrated, to be honest with you. I think he's properly rated, but he might be underrated. And, I just think he can offer a lot. And the thing is, this offense isn't going to have a same type of situation with Goff's offense where, there wasn't even a 1,000-yard receiver or rusher on the team. I don't even remember the last time the Rams had that. They're not going to have that. I think this year, I said it before, I'll say it again, this could be very similar to Kurt Warner when he threw 1,000 yards to 3 different receivers, Steve Breston, Larry Fitzgerald, and Anquan Boldin. I think they're going to spread out the ball very well. And Matthew Stafford isn't going to lock on to Cooper Kupp. He's not going to lock on to one receiver. That's not something he does. That's something Jared Goff does. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, what I'll say in the same breath, I got to give a shout out to Jared Goff. I've been a huge critic of his, and I will say straight up, Stafford is a lot better than Jared Goff. But that doesn't mean Jared Goff's bad. And I truly hope a 26-year-old quarterback that gave everything he had to the Rams, getting him to a Super Bowl in his second year, obviously with the help of Sean McVay, I hope he finds nothing but success with the Lions. Quite honestly, I'm rooting for the Lions, not over the Rams. But I am rooting for the Lions. I hope he plays well. I hope the Lions play well. I want to see Dan Campbell rub in everyone's face that said he's not equipped to be a head coach. I want to see Anthony Lynn, a guy that I really enjoyed watching on Hard Knocks, a guy that you can tell was a true a coach, a leader of men. Maybe not the best game manager, but I think he was a legit NFL head coach. In between games, great practice guy. I want to see him do well. I want to see Aubrey Pleasant do well. I would not be surprised if Aubrey Pleasant takes this little road trip, goes over to Detroit, does well with the cornerbacks, does wonders for guys like Desmond Trufant and Jeff Okudah, and then finds his way back with the Rams as the defensive coordinator next year once Raheem Morris leaves and gets a head coaching job. Wouldn't be surprised. But I want to see those guys succeed, and I want to see Brad Holmes succeed. I like Brad Holmes. I like the fact he's been with the Rams since 2003. I think that's a special thing. And I wish him nothing but the best. I wish all of, Lions fans, I feel like Lions fans are just awesome. I will say I've gotten death threats from them for writing an article that suggested that they trade Darius Slay for Sammy Watkins. That didn't go over well. That was a while ago. But aside from that moment, I don't hold that against Lions fans. I've met some great fans. There's a guy by the name of Joe that I worked with And he's a great guy, and he's a Lions fan. And I just know there's so many Lions fans I actually know, and I just feel like they're all just super nice. And everyone seems to be like in the vein of like, let's follow Matthew Stafford like it's LeBron, and let's root for the Rams. And so I think the Rams are going to have a bigger fan base this year, to be honest with you. They're going to get a lot of Matthew Stafford fans. And quite honestly, if you like football, you're probably a Matthew Stafford fan. You realize what he's done to the game, and what he does with not a ton around him. And, like you mentioned, in your comment, where did it go? I'm trying to find it. The Gridiron Blitz. Like you mentioned, it's like you watched Barry and Calvin walk away at the top of their game. Matthew Stafford gets an opportunity now, to play with the team that he wanted to play with. And I think a lot of, he really, really wanted to bring a title to Detroit. And him and his wife, Kelly, meant so much to that, that community. They did so much. I've talked about it repeatedly. They're just great human beings, and, you can't stress it enough. So, I mean, I wish, the Lions all the best and their fans all the best. And I just, it's really cool to see all these Lions fans following me on Twitter now, saying that they're going to be Rams fans. Not saying that they're going to leave the Lions, but they're going to root for Stafford. I think that's really cool that they're doing that. It does come off as like a LeBron type of thing. Tyler Paul, you couldn't be any more wrong. I don't call people out for their opinion. Like, I respect the fact that you have an opinion. You have the right to one. But Stafford's not terrible, and he's not a loser. He's a great guy. He helps out with the community, helps out with underprivileged children. He donates all sorts of time to the community. So, quite honestly, he's not a loser. You're a loser if you don't, agree with that, because, guys that are doing that, it says a lot. But anyway, no, he does not suck. Stafford doesn't suck, folks. He doesn't suck, okay? And I'm trying so hard to like look at everything that people are saying, and it's just not working. Thank you, Marco. I appreciate it anyway. Do you think we should go after John Ross? Everyone, please re-comment your question if I missed it. And feel free to highlight it with a super chat. I will definitely see it. But it's getting a little hectic. It's not friendly, okay? Like, YouTube, for whatever reason, isn't the best at it. So, Watson is probably better than Stafford, okay? I'm not saying he's not. Let's see. Do you think we should go after John Ross? I think he would make a lot of sense, can stretch the field. Stafford can throw the deep ball. The deep ball's back in LA now. And this is somebody that loves football, and I feel for John Ross. Look, he had all sorts of injuries. He ran the 4.22, and he goes in the first round to the Bengals, and it's like the Bengals didn't even use him last year. Like, he's like, I'm ready, I'm waiting, and he was a healthy scratch. So I think, I'm ready for John Ross to get an opportunity, man. I think he's talented and would be awesome in a Sean McVay offense. Have you watched Gridiron Heights? I have, and it seems like every time I watch it, they clown they clown Matthew Stafford. I don't get it. But I do think it's funny, and I think it's well put together. I just don't agree with clowning Matthew Stafford. Jared Goff stuff is a little funny, though. Why do you think Raheem Morris is a good fit for us? Well, I think Raheem Morris, and what I've been hearing, is that they're going to adopt pretty much what Brandon Staley's been doing. They're going to run the same defense, and they're going to have little, nuances of what, Raheem Morris has learned throughout his coaching career. And I think ultimately that's going to be huge. That's going to help him. So I'm a big fan of Raheem Morris and what he brings to the table. The fact that he already proved that he can, coach up his players. He's the only coach since the merger to win 10 games with 10 different starters being rookies. He also has the best turnaround in Buccaneers team history, going from 3-13 to 10-6 the next season. So this is somebody that I think got a bad, a raw deal. He went to the Falcons. He, got better, I think. He refined his coaching skills, if you want to say, and just his knowledge of the game, and I think it's going to work out extremely well for the Rams in the long haul. It did cost them Aubrey Pleasant, though. I'm not going to lie. I think he really wanted the defensive coordinator job and was a little understanding with the Brandon Staley move, but he didn't get it. So the Rams do lose him. Would he come back? I think he would. But I do think that Raheem Morris is legit, and it is a good hire. Let's see. I think the Rams should draft Kadarius Toney. He is very good at wide receiver screens. Is very fast. Could have him come out of the backfield. I think it's a match made in heaven. Anthony, I think Kadarius Toney's pretty awesome, honestly. He kind of reminds me of Tavon Austin coming out of West Virginia. I know that scares people. My problem with that is I don't think you're going to see as many wide receiver screens, folks. I don't think so. That was to help Jared Goff out. Matthew Stafford's going to throw this thing deep down the field. Like, they don't need wide receiver screens. Wide receiver screens will happen, but it won't be a significant part of the offense the way it was for Goff. Let's see here. I think Stafford wins the Super Bowl with the Rams. Hope Rams keep Leonard Floyd and D. Williams. I think, Pam, that they're going to keep D. Williams. I don't necessarily know if they're going to keep Leonard Floyd. Oh, my God. It just went up. That's so annoying. Where is it? Okay. Stafford is great, everyone. Jake, an article I read predicts Rams signed JJ 4 years, $52 million, $13 million average per year, $25 million guaranteed, 16.5 signing guaranteed. Are these numbers correct? I mean, I think that's right around what he's going to command on the market. Could get more than that, though, when you have a team like, say, the Colts that have a lot of cap there, could be willing to pay more. I mean, I think if the Rams get him for that, that's a good deal. I think it's a doable deal. Jake, they're mad, bro. Don't even give them the time. Tyler Paul's an idiot. Stafford has a cannon. He does have a cannon. Rocket arm. Have you watched Gridiron Heights? I think I already answered that. Why do you think Raheem Morris is a good fit for us? I answered that. If you say Stafford sucks, go watch highlights. Go watch film. Don't watch highlights. I'm telling you right now, if you can watch film, watch film. Because the little things that Stafford doesn't do as well as other quarterbacks, that's what separates him from a Patrick Mahomes. But they're so tiny, and that's the thing. He's not far off from those guys. Stafford and Goff to trade houses. Matthew's really good, but Watson's better. Yeah, Watson is better, but Watson's a different breed. Stafford's weaknesses, I mean, it's hard. I mean, he doesn't really have many weaknesses. That's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that because it's like, I'm looking at my notes here because I watched this film and I wanted to point that out. It's tough with him. He's really, he's got a very, very quick release, and that's something that means like a great deal to me. I want a guy that's going to be able to get the ball out quick. This is somebody that can literally take over games, and I don't know, I'm not even trying to be that guy. I don't know what he's bad at, to be honest with you. He'll throw an occasional interception because he goes, super aggressive. I guess maybe his over-aggressive nature. But, he does not have many. There are small things that he doesn't have, and just too small for me to even explain. I mean, he's a damn good quarterback. He really is. And I think he's gonna reach a potential that we never thought he was going to reach. He's gonna reach it with the Rams. I feel pretty confident Watson is staying in Houston now. I don't think the Rams would have gone for Stafford so quickly if they had a chance for Watson on the Rams. Could be. I will bet my life Stafford don't win a Super Bowl with the Rams. What will Stafford's touchdown-interception ratio be? Okay, so I think Stafford realistically can throw over 40 touchdowns this season. I really do. I mean, this is the most, weapons-wise, this is more than he's ever had. He's got an amazing offensive mind in Sean McVay that's going to be, conducting this whole thing. I think he throws over 40 touchdowns. Interceptions-wise, I think he's around 13 to 10. I'm telling you, maybe even in the single digits, to be honest with you. I'm going to, all right, I'll say this. Prediction, Matthew Stafford wins MVP. He has a 65 completion percentage. He averages over 8.5 yards per completion. Let's see here. I'm trying to appreciate you, Shady Brady. Yes, the Rams would have won the divisional round with Stafford, I think. So he has a 65% completion. I think he's going to have, let's say, 4,800 passing yards. 41 touchdowns. And I'm going to say 6 interceptions. I'm that high on him. I really am. I think he can be elite. And he's been, it's almost like this idea that people will hold against him because, well, he needs talent around him. Patrick Mahomes has thrown his entire career with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. So the best tight end in the league, potentially, and one of the best players in the world as far as, like, running with the football in his hand. So I don't know. I don't think it's fair. I mean, Rodgers has Devontae Adams. Mahomes has those two. Tom Brady has Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown. It's like it's not really fair to say, like, because Stafford needs a little bit more than just Quintez Cephas that he's going to be penalized for that. But that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, that's what I would say in regards to that. The touchdown interception ratio, I think at 41 to 6. Stafford was a top 10 quarterback with Detroit. Does that change this year? I mean, I think he was the 7th overall quarterback. I think he turns into a top 5 quarterback this year, to be honest with you. And I think he can challenge as high as Russell Wilson at number 3. I really do. I don't think he'll pass Rodgers or Mahomes, but I think at number 3, you look at that Wilson-Watson range, I think he could pass both of them based on the way he plays with the Rams. Do you think Raheem Morris is a good fit for us? I do. Stafford has been underrated for years. He's so clutch and has crazy arm talent. If Stafford sucked, why did he last 12 years? Should the Rams go after Kevin King? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Kevin King is the reason the Packers lost in the NFC Championship game. He was abysmal. I would not go anywhere near Kevin King. Who would I go after if they? Let's see. Okay, so I did just see the report. Okay, so the Rams, according to Roto World Football, the Rams did go after Aaron Rodgers. They tried to get Rodgers. And the Packers said they were not interested in trading him. That's interesting. Okay. Stafford is amazing ever since he had dislocated shoulder, came back and won against the Browns. I mean, he was, that was an amazing moment. He's been great. I'm just glad he's finally going to get appreciated. I'm not saying the Lions fans didn't appreciate him. I'm saying the national media. Go Rams. Stafford's the one. Been watching the NFL for 15 years. Stafford's the real deal, 100%. Goff is not a championship quarterback. Finally, our offenses will be good enough to keep our defense off the field, so they will be able to shine even more. How much you want to bet? It's going to be a bomb. That's what I bet. Yep. John Ross is a winner. Rams are third favorite to win the Super Bowl. How long do you think we have to win a Super Bowl with this core? I mean, 2 to 4 years. I mean, I think personally that they're going to sign Matt Stafford. Like, I know the contract extension, I'm hearing, like, now the contract extension isn't going to happen. It's going to happen. The Rams are going to keep him long term. Flip Wolf for a draft pick. What's our biggest need in free agency in the draft? Who should we re-sign? I'm not trading Wolf for who's my backup for a draft pick. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep John Wolford. I'm going to have him be my backup. And as far as, the biggest need, I'd probably say center. I think the Rams need to get a really good center. If they lose Blythe, if they keep Blythe, then it's not center. But right now, I'd say the deep threat. I'd say center. I'd say edge defense, corner. In that order. Well, corner's pretty needed because there's not really much. Okay, so I'd say corner pretty high, but yeah. Why are people so quick to hate on Stafford when he had so many bad Lions teams? Because people don't want to do the homework. They don't want to go back and watch film. I mean, it's a lot of work, but you got to go back and you got to watch. I mean, Stafford does things on film that simply 4 or 5 quarterbacks on this entire in this entire league can replicate, and some can't. So that's that. Paul Charles, love your show, Jake. Appreciate you, Paul. Means a lot. I need a Stafford jersey. I need one as well. Hoping he announces his number like yesterday. Jake, I want to hear your thoughts on Justin Herbert. So, Alec, I think Justin Herbert is one of the best young up-and-coming quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he's already surpassed Burrow, and I think his ceiling is practically, the sky's the limit. I mean, he has a chance to be the best quarterback in all of football. He really does. I don't know if he'll get there. I don't know if he'll be better than Mahomes, but he's on a track that he's ahead of Mahomes right now because Mahomes as a rookie only played week 17, and Justin Herbert came in and played the whole year and looked amazing, and now he's going to have an elite defense with Brandon Staley. He's going to have those weapons. I think things are just going to get better for him, and ultimately I think you're looking at a guy that can be top 3, top 5 in the league. He's the future of the league, folks. He really is. I don't know if he'll be better than Mahomes again, but he's going to be one of the top faces for sure. John Ross gets injured because John Ross gets injured. Too much people on talk about him because he ran that 40. He gets injured, but he was healthy all season long and was a healthy scratch. So, I think Rams should draft Kadarius Toney. Oh yes, we went over that. Do you think Woods or Kupp have the better year with Stafford? That's a tough one. I'm gonna say Woods. But I mean, it could be a wash. It depends, I guess. Bucks will be at the top for sure if they retain most of their O talent since their D is young and hungry. I think the Bucks are definitely near the top. If they win the Super Bowl, yeah. I mean, if they lose though, that could be bad. Who says he sucks or just haters? Give him a chance. So who else will we get this offseason and draft? It'll be interesting. I don't really know who the Rams are going to get this draft. I doubt they draft a quarterback now. I think you're fine with Wolford, Perkins, and Devlin Hodges, but who knows? Eskridge from Western Michigan would be a nice pick. Yeah, I like him. I like Eskridge. I like Tutu Atwell as well, a guy that can stretch the field and can be a return guy. Rams didn't have the assets to get Watson. It was an unrealistic pipe dream. I don't know. I think they did because here's the thing. The Rams may not have the best package, but when we hear about packages, when do those teams make those moves? When's the last time you saw it? I said this last night. Like, what GM is going to go out there and make a move to trade 3 first-rounders aside from Les Snead? Like, I can't think of anybody who's done it. So it's all talk and, it's all bark and no bite, and Snead bites. He does it every time. So that's why I kind of felt like, I felt like they really had a chance at Watson. I'm glad they went with Stafford, though. I think Stafford fits the offense better, and when he doesn't cost as much. Yeah. I don't think Sean McVay wants a guy that's going to run. I don't think he wants a running quarterback. But, I mean, I'm sure he would take Watson if he was free. I'm just saying I don't think he wanted Watson for 4 or 5 first-round picks. Maybe, I don't know. Chiefs kind of insane, though. Why did Ross get cut? What's up, Masanori? Ross got cut because, well, I think he's a free agent anyway, but the Bengals just, I don't know. They moved on. It was a different organization, I think, when he was drafted. I don't even think No, Zach Taylor was not there, so it's a completely different organization. Let's see. I don't know if we're staying in the 3-4. Could definitely be a 4-3. Could be multiple. Could be nickel. As far as base, I don't know. I know they're going to run all of those, though. Rams will make it to the Super Bowl. What did the Rams do at running back? Akers and Henderson got hurt this past year, and Brown isn't coming back. Well, they really like Xavier Jones, and I have to imagine they like Raymond Calais. So I think they're good at running back. Maybe you draft a running back in this draft, end of the draft, kind of like a Puka Williams from Kansas. Somebody that can, add a little bit of like a Darren Sproles mix to the running back room. But I don't think anything too big. But that's kind of, what I'm thinking there. AJ Cornish, should the Rams take Jamie Newman or another quarterback in the third or fourth? I say no. They got Stafford for the next 2 years. I'm not in any hurry to take any of these developmental guys. I'd say Kellen Mond maybe, the way he played at the Senior Bowl, but aside from him, I'm not interested in this class much at all at quarterback. That can change. I need to watch more film, of course, but right now that's where I'm at. I wanted Watson, but we can still be great with Stafford. Just happy we dumped Goff, and you just got a new sub. Horns up. Appreciate you, only me. Appreciate you. I have it going on. When people do super chats, I get an alert in the top left-hand corner of my screen. I got that going. It says that I have like anytime somebody subs, it does it, but it doesn't do it anytime anybody subs. So that's annoying. I want to give those people shout outs as well. So is what it is. Jackson Scott, we should sign Charles Harris, John Ross, DeMonte Casey, and Denzel Perryman. I think it would be huge to get, somebody like, I think Charles Harris, first off, former first-round pick out of Mizzou, really liked him. He was my number one edge defender in that class. Yes, that was the same class as Myles Garrett. I thought Charles Harris looked amazing on film, and he's been somewhat of a disappointment. So it'd be interesting to grab him, try to have more of a reclamation project. John Ross is definitely somebody I like. DeMonte Casey had 7 or 8 interceptions a few weeks ago. Did I just get just subscribed? Where has that been? Okay, now we're getting subscriptions. I don't know what was going on before, but now we're getting them, so that's cool. Looks like it fixed itself. But DeMonte Casey, I think he had either 7 or 8 7 or 8 interceptions 2 years ago, I want to say. And then Denzel Perryman's the guy that can cover the deep zone if they run that Tampa 2. I don't think they're going to, but it's definitely something to keep in mind. Appreciate you, Don C. Appreciate your consistency, big dog. I try to be as consistent as possible. It's not the easiest thing, obviously, but I think, like I said early on, if you guys missed it at the beginning, I'm trying to have a new schedule. So I'm going to have a schedule out. I'm going to schedule these, live streams out in advance. And that way you guys won't be able to miss it. You'll have an idea of when I'm doing them, because they're all going to be different times for each day, but I'll have it set up like beforehand, so you guys know. Let's see. We should not target Kevin King. Do you want me to show you the play where Kevin King gave up the entire game holding this guy's jersey, or the play where he gave up a touchdown to Scotty Miller right before the first half ended to give the Bucs a 28 or whatever to 10 lead? I mean, he was bad. He was really bad in that game. Yeah, Brady, you keep spamming. Please don't spam, folks. It's like, if I tell you to send it to me and everything, I already answered that question. So if you're sending me a question I haven't answered, totally fine. But if you're spamming something I've already said, then it's just going to clog it up. And so for people that didn't get their question asked, it's unfair to them, because then I don't see their question. It pushes everything down. So let's just avoid spamming. Moderators, you guys know who you are. If anybody's spamming and you give them a warning, if they don't stop, just put them in timeout or whatever the chat thing allows you to do. I haven't gone into it, but we have to keep it clean, though. We have to give everybody an opportunity to ask questions, and I try to answer them best I can, but it's hard because we have so much going on. Mixing new ideas with old ideas? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of along the lines of Raheem Morris. Yeah. Kevin White. I once watched Kevin White at he went up against my community college, and he was a monster, and that's all I can really say. He was legit. When he got to the NFL, though, it just didn't work out. So I don't know if Kevin White makes a lot of sense. I think he's just unfortunately past that. Do you think Jefferson was utilized less than Reynolds purposefully? I feel Jefferson has potential to be a top wide receiver. Also, Reynolds killed the momentum at Green Bay not catching that ball in the fourth quarter. Art, everything you said, literally everything you said in that comment is spot on. Reynolds absolutely did kill the momentum in that drive, and ultimately they probably could have won that game if he catches it. I know it sounds weird, but after that, it all went downhill. As far as Jefferson, I don't know why he was utilized less, but Jefferson I always thought was better than Reynolds. I said he was better than Reynolds the moment they drafted him. So I was annoyed that Jefferson didn't play as much as I thought he should have, but at the same time, yes, he has the potential to be a top wide receiver, great route runner, stood out the Senior Bowl, was a guy that I wrote down his name immediately when scouting guys before the Senior Bowl last year. Big fan of Van Jefferson. And what do you think Watson will be traded for? That'll be interesting. And there it goes again. I'm so far behind, folks. I'm trying so hard to read everyone's comments, and it's so hard, because YouTube keeps updating it, and there's no way for me to read every comment. I'm trying my best. It updated again, and I totally lost everything. I also got to give a shout out to Renee House. He's been following my stuff for a minute now. He's a friend of my father's. He was on a Rams board that we were on, and he's a great guy, and I really appreciate him in here. I've seen him a lot. I know he's a little bit of a hard ass at times with me, with my opinions, but I love Renee. He's a great dude. Can Van Jefferson be our deep threat? He could. And what's up, Chantry? I haven't seen you all day. We're at 2,300 subs. I love it. It's great. Thanks, ADM. Appreciate you. This has been a lot of fun, folks. A lot of fun. I'm getting hungry. That's the only problem here. No, you're good, Chantry. You're good. Trust me, I know. Busy. Busy's good. Yeah, you guys. Okay, so you guys can curse. I'm just saying I don't like to curse personally. Just bear in mind though, let's keep it clean and let's keep it. I know saying let's curse, but let's keep it clean. Let's just go away from the blatant vulgar, no crazy sexual harassment or anything garbage like that. Let's keep that out of here. Nothing disgusting, but yeah, you can curse in here. You absolutely can. But just keep in mind that when people rewatch this video, they're gonna see when you're cursing. So they're gonna see your name next to it. So if you don't want that, then you don't want that. Hey Jake, are you going to do SoFi Stadium when fans will be back? I absolutely will be at SoFi. I will meet every single one of you. That'll be fun. I can't wait. I really can't wait. Marvin Jones to LA, hashtag get going. Yeah, I'm a big Marvin Jones to LA fan right now. So, Rams window is going to close really fast if this doesn't work out. You are absolutely right. Let's see here. Appreciate you, Art. It means a lot. You guys are so awesome. You just keep donating to me. Let's see. Yeah, avoid the vulgarity. That's what I was trying to say. Saying, again, I don't like cursing. I just don't think it's professional. I think you guys look at me for content. You look at me for knowledge. And, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on that. Is kind of, I try to keep it clean. I do want to put an emphasis on something. So when I said that earlier, when I cursed earlier talking about Bucky Brooks, I don't have anything against Bucky Brooks, but I hated that take so much. And that's, that's also another thing, 1611. I don't know who's watching. And that's why I never go too crazy. So that's the thing. I really don't like cursing. This isn't Barstool, and I have no problem with Barstool. I'm a big fan of Dave Portnoy. I just called him Dan. Dave Portnoy and what he's doing for the community. Just the fact that he has that Barstool fund and all those local businesses are getting helped out by him. I do really, really respect him for that. But I'm just not a shock jock humor type of sports guy. I never have been. I can be myself and be funny. You guys laugh here and there. I'll make myself laugh, but I'm never going to be the shock jock type of humor guy. I always want to give analysis and things that maybe you're not thinking of and thought-provoking ideas and, humble opinion. Appreciate you, TJ. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at on that. I love Snowden. I also love Edward Snowden, but we won't get into my political thoughts on that. I love Snowden from Virginia. And I try to have a big brain. Where did you ask the question? I didn't see yours, Vladimir. Hey Jake, what do you think Watson will end up? Does he stay put? Right now, I would say Carolina. How much space does Matt? So Matt Stafford frees up around 12 to 15 million. I don't know the exact number. But he's going to have like about 15 million that can be saved on him when they restructure. Thanks, William. Yeah, I try to be serious. Who's going to take you seriously if you don't take yourself seriously? I'm going to screw up and I'm going to have my little, things that I put in there every now and then. Like when we're having all sorts of, technical difficulties, or I'll make fun of like the transition that for whatever reason, my transition that looks really smooth on my side always lags on your side. So I'll always make fun of that. But for the most part, I'm trying to keep it professional. I don't know about Madden streams. I feel like I've kind of adopted this channel to be like sports and not really video games, but maybe you guys can follow me on Twitch if you're interested, JK Bogan. If I ever decide to start, doing those again, because I will stream every now and then when I'm really bored on PS5. So if anybody's interested in that, JK Bogan, it's the same thing you see below, but it's just no DTSN. JK Bogan on Twitch. You can also follow me on I can't even talk, on Twitter, JK Bogan DTSN, and I always follow back. Jay Bailey, unpopular opinion, but should we have traded for someone younger instead? I would have liked to get Jordan Love. So I saw Jordan Love at the Senior Bowl. I wasn't overly impressed with him, but I do think, he packs a punch long term. I think he's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think if the Rams were going to do that, though, they would have just drafted Trey Lance. They would have traded up and they would have gotten Trey Lance in the draft. I think it would have made the most sense. But, I don't think it's a bad idea. I just think if they were going to do that, they either do it with a draft pick or they stick with Goff and Wolford and have them battle it out. I think it was more so trying to upgrade the quarterback position. And I just, the rookie position or whatever, you're maybe breaking even. You don't know for sure if that's going to work out. Number 1 or number 2 seed? How do you think the Rams will be a great show on turf level or better if they get a deep threat? Do you think I'm throwing sorry, Michael wasn't here. Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like they can be that type of offense. I mean, this is going to be an explosive offense, could be historical. We get to see Matthew Stafford with a ton of weapons and an offensive mind and a defense. I mean, everything, it's the perfect storm. And, you know, I just think he's going to be very good and everything's going to work out. This felt like finally they're turning the page. I don't think Goff was a bust because Goff sent you to a Super Bowl. Now, you can say that McVay helped, obviously, but Goff in his third year went to a Super Bowl. Second year, full-time starter. He went to the playoffs in his second year, and his first year as a full-time starter. He went to three playoff seasons. In 3 seasons, he went to playoffs. You know, he won. What was it? He lost to the Falcons. He beat Dallas. He beat the Saints. He lost to the Patriots. He beat Seattle, and then he lost to Green Bay, and he gave it his all. I don't think Jared Goff's a bust. How did Rex Grossman get them to the Super Bowl? I have no idea. I mean, Rex Grossman is bad. I don't know how he got them there. They went 13-3, which is kind of my point when people were telling me, well, Goff has the second most wins in the NFL besides Brady over the last however many seasons. Yeah, but wins, you're seeing why wins are an overblown thing. Because when you're dealing with wins, Rex Grossman won 13 games and went to a Super Bowl, but he was horrible. He had a completion percentage below 56. He had 23 touchdowns and 20 interceptions. He wasn't good. It was not good at all. And Jay Cutler as well, you know, he has all this talent, yeah, but we never saw it. I mean, they lost 21-14 2010 in the NFC title game to the Packers. You know, Jay Cutler, if he if he was as great as everyone made him out to be early on, he would have won that game and sent them to the Super Bowl, but that didn't happen. Rams Raiders have 2 best stadiums in all football. I agree with that. How do you feel about Demetric Felton? What's up, Jason? How we doing? How do you feel about Demetric Felton being a deep weapon, versatile player, McVay and Stafford to use creatively? All right, guys, I'll get another water. I know what you're thinking. I think Felton would be great. I think he'd be a really nice addition. So I agree with that. Webster should be traded ASAP. Who's going to trade for Nasimba Webster? How many Super Bowls do you think Rams and Stafford will win? I think they win at least 1. Could be 2 or 3. Paxton Lynch would not have gotten the Rams to the Super Bowl. That was the other option if they stayed at 15. Yeah, you're right. Paxton Lynch had a problem. He could not read a playbook. And Jared Goff was only 18-13 the last 2. That's interesting. I don't think it was a bust, though. I mean, as a first overall pick, a bust doesn't get a new contract. What is the weakest link on the Rams? I don't think there is any. Right now, I mean, it was Goff. Now I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good one. I mean, I'd say David Long because he would start, and I'm not really overly impressed with David Long. I think he is going to be a third-round bust when it's all said and done. I think they missed on him, but I don't know. Man, we have so many people in here. This is awesome. I do have to get out. I will have to get off soon, though. So I thought I followed you guys already, Sean and Marco. My apologies for that. I'll go to my grave screaming Colt Brennan never got a chance in the NFL. That's a bio. I dig the bio. I'm just looking at Twitter right now. Yeah, we got a lot of Yeah. Marvin would be nice. Are Rams still good enough even though we lost coaches? Absolutely. Elijah Molden, I mentioned earlier, I think he'd be a solid fit. I love Amari Rodgers to the Rams. Who's your favorite player on the Rams? Marco? That's a good question. I think probably Woods. I have a special connection to Woods. I met Woods at a corporate event that I went to. And he knew who I was and knew Downtown Rams, and he actually gave me props for calling that he would go to the Rams. And no, he's a great guy. So hey Jake, what do you think about Amari Rodgers? Calvin Johnson pulling a Gronk. Here we go again, man. It is so hot in here. That's probably why. Man, it is so hot in here. I need to get a fan. Just for like my legs or something. I don't know. It's so hot. Who's your favorite Ram player of all time? Marshall Faulk or Kurt Warner? I think they're tied, to be honest with you. I met Kurt Warner. I never met Marshall Faulk. Faulk's a ghost now. I can't, I tried to get him on the show before. I can't figure out how to reach him, Let's see. Why is no one talking about Sam Ehlinger? I watched him a lot because I like the Jayhawks, and I've never been super impressed with him. So, I don't know. I think, can Ehlinger do something in the NFL? Maybe, but he's going to be a day 3 prospect. Aaron Jones to the Rams. That's an interesting one. Youngblood. My favorite player on the Rams is Johnny Hecker. How do you feel? I mean, I love Johnny Hecker. I met him. I met his parents. His parents are very, very nice. Yeah, I mean, Johnny Hecker's not a bad pick. Torrey Holt, the former Ram. Jack Youngblood. Favorite non-Ram? Aaron Rodgers probably, but I also love. I mean, that'd be tough. Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Odell Beckham Jr. It was Jamal Adams until he went to the Seahawks, and now I don't like him. I don't hate him, but I don't really like him. You're welcome, Renee. I love Todd Gurley. He's up there for me. And I met him. Such a nice guy. I don't buy into the fact that he's this head case that people will talk about. I think he got a bad rep. That's all I'll say on that, because I don't want to get too much into it. I know a lot of people don't like him for whatever reason, and I'm not going to start a giant war. Gale Sayers is a former Jayhawk, so I do like him. As a Lions fan, how bad or good is Jared Goff? Is there any potential? Well, blue and silver, I think, when you look at what Jared Goff brings to the table, he's 26 years old, okay? He's won over 40-plus games over the last however many years. This is somebody that has shown you the ability in 2017-18 to do something. But here's the thing, and this is really important. Sean McVay's offense calls for a lot of throwing of the football. But Sean McVay didn't want to live in a world where they were throwing, 5-yard, completions every single time. I think Jared Goff had there's a combination of a lot that happened. He may have gotten complacent after the contract, to be honest with you. He may have been broken by the New England Patriots in that Super Bowl. And he honestly may have gotten hit really hard and actually suffered a concussion that no one ever caught on with against the Chiefs, the Allen Bailey hit. Those are three things that stand out in my mind because you don't just go from that to just all of a sudden struggling. So as a Lions fan, what you want to look for is the fact that, look, Dan Campbell has come out and he says he wants to play old school, run the ball, 80s football. Okay, they need to build that defense and they need to run the football. They have DeAndre Swift, they're going to be able to do it. But here's the thing. They have a good offensive line that can protect Goff. You go out, you get a guy, in my opinion, you get a guy like Devontae Smith later in the first round or early in the first round. You trade up a little bit to get him. Maybe you double dip and you grab Kadarius Toney if he falls in the second. And now you're talking about getting two legitimate deep threats, but guys that can work even in the short and intermediate game for Jared Goff. And I think it's a great situation for Goff because it's a comfortable situation. Look, he knows the GM, Brad Holmes, is the guy that basically slammed the table for him. He knows that there's some coaches here that he knows prior. And to be honest with you, this is going to be a run-first approach, and I think it takes Goff out of harm's way. I think you're going to want to run the football. You're going to want to play good defense, and you're going to want to use Jared Goff. You develop him if you can. You're going to want to use him only when you need to. I mean, this is the thing. I think it's a good fit for Anthony Lynn because Anthony Lynn wants to run the football. He's the OC. So I don't think it's a bad move at all, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's the quarterback for the future. And if all of a sudden he plays well, I hope he plays well. If you missed it, I'm rooting for the Lions. I would definitely enjoy that. So, Jake, do you think Odell Beckham Jr. can come to the Rams? I don't see it. I don't think that they can pay that much for a receiver. So, unfortunately, I don't see it. Stafford is so underrated. I'm a Lions fan. No one is tougher. Just an amazing talent. Happy for him. Yeah, I have to say the same. I mean, I've watched it for a while, and I've said it. Stafford is just so underrated, and I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that people saw him, and they saw him with Calvin Johnson, and they acted as if like his whole career has been had been carried by Calvin Johnson. Look at his 50-plus touchdowns he threw to Calvin Johnson. How many of those throws were just flat out amazing? Some of them were sure, like he chucked it up and Calvin made a play on it, but what are you going to do when you have a guy that was threatening to break, or he did break the single season receiving yards record. So he was threatening to break 2,000 yards. It's crazy. Jake, if the Rams start Brian Allen at center, are you confident in him? Not at all. Not at all. Henry Ford, if the Rams start Brian Allen at center, this is going to be a problem. Blue and silver, yeah, I totally agree. I think Stafford is going to win the MVP under Sean McVay. What's your thoughts on Nate Landman from Colorado? Andre, I'm going to have to check him out. Personally, I haven't seen him yet, and I'm not going to make an assumption on something that I haven't, watched. So I'll check him out for sure. I'm going to write that down. Whatever happened to Trey Mason, he just up and disappeared. There's a lot of stuff that went on with that, and I feel like one, he kind of lost his mind when they got Todd Gurley, and he fought through that. But in the offseason, from what I heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I saw a report that he had a bad batch of K2, synthetic marijuana, and it caused him to go crazy. And that's pretty much what happened. And Sean McVay gave him an opportunity to report back to the Rams, and he didn't want to play for them, so that's what happened. It's really unfortunate. I think Trey Mason absolutely could have had a future in this league. Zach Stacy suffered some injuries that forced him to retire, including a neck injury, I believe. So it is unfortunate with that. Top 5 Super Bowl favorites: Rams, Packers, Chiefs, Steelers, Colts. Jake, why don't people use their brains to understand Stafford talent being held back in Detroit? Ford family are garbage owners. I don't know. I just saw Stonks in games is your that's your name. So that's going to make me look right now. I haven't done it in all stream long. But I'm going to look and hopefully it doesn't look that way. Dogecoin is kind of all over the place. Anyone have Dogecoin still? Anyone holding it? Robinhood sucks, and I can't buy the dip, and it pisses me off. Also, Dylan McCaffrey, former Michigan quarterback, is transferring to Northern Colorado. I don't know why that just came up. I thought that was interesting. I don't know. Rams made a run at Matthew Stafford. Yeah. It's not a lot of news today. We made it work, though. Hey, Jake, now I got you a Elijah Molden fan. Now check out Jamar Jefferson, running back. Yeah, I mean, I like Elijah Molden, and I like Jefferson as well. You're holding at 3K? Oh, my God. Yeah, I'm down a lot of money because Doge. Okay, so I'm going to say this real quick because I don't want to push people away. But if you're like invested in Dogecoin right now, I'd buy the dip if you can. I cannot because I can't get any sort of cryptocurrency in New York except for using Robinhood. But if you invest in Dogecoin, essentially it's kind of a meme type of crypto. And right now on Robinhood, they're not allowing people to right off the cuff. They're not allowing people to have instant deposit and then buy Dogecoin. So, that's the thing, is that they're not allowing you to instant deposit on Robinhood, and so for that reason it's going down. But for anybody that's worried about it, it's going to, at the end of this weekend, I think they're going to open it up again, and a lot of those processed transactions are going to go through, and the thing is going to start to skyrocket. I think it'll go back up. I think it can hit 10 cents. I don't know if it'll hit $1, but that's what I'll say on that. CTRM shorts are about to get destroyed, and we are about to fly. CTRM. What is CTRM? Hey, Jake, do you think Stafford will be a superstar in LA? I do. We have to retool the defense. Offense should not get much attention this offseason. Yeah, we'll see. You know how Sean McVay is. You just went up in money after this stream, Jake. That's true. That is true. I've had a lot of people donate. It's meant a lot to me. Probably the most we've had, and it's been really cool, and I'm really appreciative of it. Melvin Capital just bought Goff's contract. Oh my God, you guys. Rams should invest in Dogecoin. How about Mark Ingram? I think Mark Ingram kind of fell off a cliff. He hit that 30 wall, I think. Is he 30? I think he's 30. Jersey sales will offset all of that dead money. Any Senior Bowl standouts? So Brett from LA, you're going to want to check out the breaking news. Matthew Stafford has gone to the Rams. The last live stream I did, Blaine Grisack did all sorts of Senior Bowl content coverage and everything, and that entire stream is a Senior Bowl stream. So check that out when you get a chance. I think you'll enjoy it. CTRM. That sounds familiar. Why does that sound so familiar? CTRM. Hey Jake, what are the chances of having a top 5 offense and defense? Very high. I think this is going to be the number 1 offense, and I think the defense is going to be top 10 at the very least. Could be top 5. So, yeah. The awards are tonight, I think, right? NFL Honors is tonight. I don't think they're doing the award show. I don't know. Maybe they are. No. NFL Honors is next Saturday. Yeah, absolutely. Hope you enjoy it. In your opinion, do we need a true number 1? No, the Rams don't need a true number 1 wide receiver. They just need 4 guys that can catch the football, and then they have Higbee and Bryson, who I really like. You think he went to LA to see Kershaw? Oh. Yeah, Honors is next week, next Saturday. I think so. Yeah, I know. He went to the worst defense to the best defense. I mean, they're going to be different, but Watt, Sue, Fowler, Matthews type player. That could be interesting. McVay wouldn't get fired. McVay is pretty good. Like I don't think that they would fire him. There'd have to be something off the field type of issue or something like that. Do you think we add another running back? Hendo can't stay healthy. Akers got a little banged up this year. That's an interesting thing. But I do think they really like Xavier Jones and Raymond Calais. Ooh, what are your NFL awards for this year? So MVP, Rodgers, easily. I don't know why I had to think about that. What was I gonna say? Offensive Player of the Year. Since that's like the award that we give to the best offensive player that's not a quarterback, even though we give the MVP to the best. I don't understand it. Anyway, it won't be Rodgers. So, Offensive Player of the Year, Kamara maybe? I don't know. I'd say Kamara. So, Alvin Kamara, Offensive Player of the Year. Aaron Rodgers, MVP. Defensive Player of the Year, no brainer, Aaron Donald. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Offensive Rookie of the Year would be Herbert, Justin Herbert. And Defensive Rookie of the Year, Chase Young. Yeah. So, let's see. What was I going to say? Coach of the Year. Who would be the Coach of the Year? Who would I do? That is a tough one. I mean, screw it. I'm going to say Sean McDermott. I think he did an incredible job of getting the Bills to move up into the championship game from losing the first round of the playoffs last year in the wild card round to the Texans. I'd give it to McDermott. Executive of the Year? I don't know. That's a good question. Comeback Player of the Year is probably going to be Alex Smith, I'd imagine. His comeback is insane. I don't think anybody can beat it. Oh, Derrick Henry could be Offensive Player of the Year. That's a good one. Jake, who do you think is a better quarterback, Brady or Rodgers? I think Rodgers is a better quarterback. I think Comeback Player of the Year has to be Alex Smith. Oh, that's a good one. You said Brown's coach, so oh god, I forget his name. Stefanski, Kevin Stefanski. The Coach of the Year should always be Sean McVay. I think it's clearly Donald, and I'm a big TJ Watt fan, but I think it's clearly Aaron Donald. I mean, yeah, I think that's a great point, John. I think teams are going to be cautious with free agency because of COVID. Chad Wheeler can go to hell. In top 32, Matthew Stafford is the 7th overall quarterback in the league. Based on what, is Rodgers better than Tom Brady? Well, I just think he's a better overall quarterback. I think he's done more with less, and I think his touchdown interception ratio is just insane. You could say postseason, but Tom Brady's Patriots, they've given up around 22 points per game, so Tom Brady has only had to score 23. Aaron Rodgers, his defenses have given up 28 points per game, and he's had to score 29, and that doesn't even guarantee when he's lost a playoff game scoring 45 points. 45. I just think every argument against Rodgers, I feel like, can be backed up. But I don't have an issue if you think Brady's the GOAT. I just think that Rodgers is... I think Rodgers is the guy that no one's, I'm not going to say no one gives credit to, but you know what I mean. What is your way too early NFC West predictions? Rams 14-3. Arizona. I'm going to say Arizona comes in second, and they finish 11-6. No, we'll give them. Okay, it's 12-5. So they finish 12-5. Seattle finishes 11-6, and San Fran finishes 10-7. I think they all finish over 500. I think all of them have a chance of making it, but keep in mind, I'm not an idiot. They moved to 17-game seasons, okay? I'm not an idiot. I know it was 14-2, but it's not anymore. I'm just saying that right now. I think Brady, yeah, I mean, he threw 3 picks. It's 17. They switched it to 17 next year. They could get Deshaun. I'm going to say this, and it's unpopular, but even if San Francisco gets Deshaun, I think the Rams are still a better team. I agree. I'm not a fan of the 17 games, to be honest with you. Could you bring your dog to the stream? Oh, man, I'd love to bring Coda. My dog is amazing. Rams are going to suck. I don't understand how. You guys better get Marvin Jones. Dude's been Stafford's deep threat for 5 years. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm live streaming a face tattoo of Stafford this week to celebrate. There's my father saying, Coda heard you. I'm not anywhere near my dog, though. I'm not going to say I'm that far away. I'm like 10 minutes out, but I'm at the office. Get Belichick on the stream. I'd love to talk to Bill Belichick. I have the utmost respect for him. Best coach ever. Jake, you're my dog, big dog. Thanks, Don. Appreciate you. I want to crush the Niners next year. Niners in basement. Well, this has been a lot of fun. We are now at 2,318 subs. And let's see where we're at stream-wise. I'm looking at this right now. Wow, this is actually the biggest streaming we've had. This is pretty awesome. So, this at one point was like hovering over, 400? I think it hit 500 live views, but 8,660 views total on this is wow. You said it, guys. This channel is growing. Thanks to you. I'm inclined to stay until we hit 10,000. That would be really dope. Also, I don't like talking dollar signs because it makes people uncomfortable when we talk about money. But what I'll say is that straight up, today with just all the donations and everything, we've almost hit $100 of chat revenue. So I can't thank you guys enough. It means freaking ton to me. It's a lot, and I really appreciate it. I mean, it really means a lot. I never beg. And here goes Chantry. Chantry's going to say now, oh, Jake's begging again. But, wow. I'm honestly really, I'm blown away. But also, if you guys are interested, I have a Discord for Downtown Rams, and many of you are Rams fans, so it makes sense. And for the Lions fans that are now Rams fans. There you go. Join the Discord. 24/7 Rams talk. It's growing. I mean, when I first started this channel, we were at, 100? And now we're at, I want to say, almost 200. So it's a channel that continues to grow. And, it's been awesome. Buy a fan. Yeah, I probably should, right? It's really hot in here. Shut up, Chantry. Jake, where's the frame of your first donation? Yeah, I got to work on that, don't I? I got to blow it up. I think it's a legitimate thing, though, to put in my office. I'm not going to lie. I'm just saying, Don. I love your show, bro. I hope it takes you far, man. My man. I can't even talk. Go Rams. Let's get rambunctious. Appreciate you. Let's prove them wrong again like last year. Any comments from both quarterbacks yet? I haven't heard anything on either side. Oh, Chris Richard would be awesome. Chris Richard should have been a defensive coordinator. Not defense. He should have been a head coach. He missed out on that. Appreciate you guys. Shout out to Kyle Stockman, my buddy. He just joined. He's a big New Jersey Devils fan, and he told me his least favorite team in the NHL is the Devils. I just thought I'd throw that out there. You should add some decor to your background. I'm considering it, I'm definitely considering it. You think the Rams are the most hated team in the NFL? I don't know. Your takes don't suck, like Jim Rome used to say. Yeah, I'm in New York. Upstate New York. Jake doesn't like the Niners because you guys can't beat us even when we are injured. I mean, I'm a Rams fan. I don't love the Niners, but I mean, I'm not going to be biased on this channel. I think the Niners are legit. I think sticking with Jimmy Garoppolo is holding him back. If you guys go out and get Deshaun Watson, yeah, you're top 4 in the league, top four in the NFC. But if you keep Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm sorry, that's complacent, and you're not going to do much with that. Galladay will be signed and traded. Oh, we pretty close. Don't put too much crap behind you. I'm not going to put a lot behind me. I don't know when it'll happen. At some point, maybe I'll get an entertainment center or something, put like more helmets or something. I don't know. You guys tell me. Also, if anyone is interested, because we talked about it 2 streams ago. I have a membership, nothing super crazy or anything, but if you want to support the channel, it's $4.99 a month. For each, however long you are a member, you get like a badge next to your name on the chat and in comments. They're all customizable. So if you're interested in that, it says a join button. You'll see it like right below the video. That's how you do that. Jake, I have a signed Jim Everett jersey. Would look nice behind you. I don't want to take your Jim Everett jersey. Or if you're just saying it would look nice, then yeah. I just had somebody tell me today. I don't want to call them out by name because I don't want to necessarily get them in trouble or have anybody, asking them for free stuff. But I just had somebody today say that they wanted to send me some Audio Technicas, which is really cool. I could definitely use some headphones, but so yeah, this guy wants to, a guy that watches this show wants to, send me Audio Technicas to my house. Very nice headphones. So I have a great community. You guys are the best. I mean, there's no one even close. No one. I like how you were upfront with your opinion and can convince me on literally anything. I can't stand the dried out Stephen A., Skip Bayless, and all main ESPN and sports analysts. You're the GOAT. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, Rams Talk. Rams Talk. Rams House. Where is Rams Talk? Where's Trent? Let's see. Ooh. I wonder. What's up, Stunner? Why did the media hate us except Peter Schrager? I think I said his name last night right. Well, his name is not Schrader, it is Schrager. But what I will say is that Peter Schrager followed me on Twitter. So I'm a big fan of Peter Schrager, and he followed me on Twitter, so I like him even more. As far as the other guys, none of them follow me on Twitter as far as Stephen A. and all those guys, so whatever. Oh, yeah, that's right. Trent is on he's the different time zone. Yeah. Jake, you should try and join ESPN to slap some sense into the idiots. Trade for Kittle. Kittle's my guy. You guys realize Kittle is just about where it all started. I didn't even have a podcast. I definitely didn't have any video. And I got George Kittle on my phone. I remember I called it. I recorded it on a really bad call recorder app. And that's how we made that work. But it was pretty crazy. Jake, do you think the Rams will go 14-3 from the NFC, especially the West? You think guys will run the table in the West? I mean, I think that they're going to – okay, so they're going to split the Niners. I think they sweep both the Seahawks and the Cardinals. Schrager's awesome. Big fan. You know who's a great guy? You all should definitely check out his work when he's doing play-by-play. Not play-by-play. Color commentary. Charles Davis. And you may hear him all the time if you play Madden. He's one of the announcers in Madden. He's a friend of mine. Charles Davis is one of the absolute best in the business. And I can't stress enough. I mean, he's the first guy I ever met when I covered the Senior Bowl in 2017. Or 2018, I want to say. Yeah, 2018. I met Charles Davis, and he was just super nice, super warm. And he had come on to he had come on the podcast, and then I'm sitting on a bench just waiting to see, I'm talking to certain people from draft Twitter, and all of a sudden I hear somebody say, Jake, what's up, Jake? And it's Charles Davis. And I'm like, oh, okay. So that's how it was a good barometer of how the week was going to go because, pretty much being out there, you're going to run into everybody. I mean, I remember sitting down and having a conversation with Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. He came over to me. I was just, I was scouting. I was, in my notebook just writing notes. I think I was writing a note on Tanner. I think it was Tanner Lee. He had just thrown a really horrible pass. And then, what was it? And then Jerry Jones comes over and, he's like, oh, what brings you out here? And, just started talking and, we had a good connection, and then the next time I was there, we had another good connection, and then I didn't see him the next time. But yeah, Jerry Jones and I have had some dialogue. It was pretty cool. I should have asked him for a job. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it is a snapback. Let's see. I like the old Rams uniforms, new ones stick in my opinion. I like both of them. I think they could have been better, but I do like both of them. You deserve it, Jake. You provide us good information, funny insights. Thanks, Jake. Yeah, absolutely, Masanori. Appreciate you. I like Tony Romo and Chris Collinsworth for color commentators. Yeah, Romo and Collinsworth are great. I think the most underrated duo is Collinsworth and Al Michaels. I mean, I just think the presentation you get with NBC on Sunday Night Football is just second to none. I'm not really a huge fan of ESPN's Monday Night Football, though, but I absolutely love Sunday Night Football. I think it's by far the best. Best commentary, best presentation, the graphics that they use are the best. I just think they're all around the best. It just seems like the most prestigious. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I look at it. My favorite commentators are the ones who are on mute. That's funny. Hey, have you looked at Marquez Stevenson? You think we can snag him? Yeah, he's actually he's interviewed with us before. He's interviewed with Downtown Rams. So I know Marquez. I know Marquez Stevenson. I like him. I don't know where he'll go, but I like him. I like him as a field stretcher. Yeah, Romo's great as a commentator, and actually, somebody that took over for Romo, Boomer Esiason, I thought he was phenomenal in just kind of breaking down what John Wolford was going through in his first NFL game. Seeing as he's been through that, thought he just added a ton to the broadcast. What do you think of Joe Buck and Troy Aikman? I think, Joe Buck is good as far as being a play-by-play guy. I do think there's some saltiness. Like, I don't think he likes the Rams. I will say that. I think there's the St. Louis thing, and I don't think it's ever sit well with him. And then Troy Aikman, I think, is underrated. I think there are people that give him way too much crap, and I think he's a good analyst. I do. I think they have, some really good analysts out there. Really like Kevin Burkhardt and what he does as a play-by-play guy. Big fan of him. Mike Tirico. I mean, he is Mike Tirico. I've heard over and over again that Mike Tirico literally is so prepared. He can call anything. He can call, the Masters. He can call an NCAA title game. He can call, the NFL. He can call baseball. Mike Tirico is like the jack of all trades, but he's the master of all of them instead of the master of none. So that's somebody, he's top notch. Hey Jake, what will Rams colors next year? I'm assuming B. I mean, they're going to be the same colors, but there's a chance, and what I was hearing is that there's a chance that there's a black uniform with blue and yellow. But I don't know much more on that. Boomer was good. I was surprised. Yeah, no, he was really good. I honestly thought it was Romo the entire time, and then they showed him in the booth, and I was like, oh, that's Boomer Esiason. Buck doesn't like the Rams. It's obvious, or the Dodgers. I think Joe Buck makes Troy look bad. Well, here's the weird thing with Joe Buck is I know he's an informed play-by-play guy, but it almost seems at times that he kind of steps on Troy Aikman's toes. Like, Troy Aikman is the color guy because he knows. He's the analyst. But I feel like sometimes Joe Buck tries to kind of interfere, and I think it kind of throws off the flow at times. I doubt we get a black uniform. I would love it, though. The Fibonacci design is lame. I like the Fibonacci design. Or are you talking the numbers? I'm not really a huge fan of that. I like the Fibonacci spiral, like the horn, the original horn. But I do like this. It grew on me. Yeah, my dad would definitely agree with you. Howard Cosell, Monday Night Football, can never be replicated. GOAT. He's told me about Howard Cosell. I've heard him before. I've only, I've seen a few games where he announced it, but I don't know too much about him. Let's see. Jake, how do you think Urban will do with the Jags? I just don't feel like they're putting Trevor Lawrence in a good position to succeed. I don't like the coaching staff at all. Just seems like a bunch of Urban's guys. Darrell Bevell doesn't, impress me at all as an OC, so we'll see. But I got to tell you, Trevor Lawrence is not a perfect prospect, and I won't be surprised if he struggles. I think he's going to be really good, and obviously he's a franchise quarterback type prospect, but don't be surprised if he struggles right off the cuff. Yeah, the Rams need to go back to their classic uniforms. Coach T. Bates, much respect for you, Jake. We'll continue to follow and watch. Keep up the good work. I would cheer for the Rams over the Sea Chickens all day. I hate Cardinals also. Appreciate it, Coach. Means a lot. I find it crazy how negative the media is towards Goff. He's an above-average quarterback. He's better than some of the other starters had in the market. Just had a bad contract. Yeah, I do think it is kind of weird. I don't think Goff is a bad quarterback, and I've said it on here before. If Jared Goff was starting this year, I think the Rams were fine. They can still win a Super Bowl with Goff and Wolford going at it. But, I mean, this idea that he's horrible and that the Rams couldn't get anything for him, I just never bought into. Because they're like, they were saying it's impossible to trade him. I just never bought into that. But, Stafford fan here. What's your wide receiver situation? Anyone going to free agency? Just Josh Reynolds, White Moose. But at the end of the day, I don't think Josh Reynolds is a huge loss. I'd love to get Marvin Jones. I'm going to be firmly on that, plant my flag on that right now, on that hill. Marvin Jones to the Rams, I'd be all for having those 4 receivers, Van Jefferson, Marvin Jones, Cooper Kupp, and Robert Woods. He also has Tyler Higbee and Bryson Hopkins. So, if you're a Stafford fan, I think you're going to like this Rams offense a lot. I have Stafford winning the MVP next year, as long as he stays healthy. And it's not that I'm saying Stafford is injury prone, but anything can happen. So as long as they keep him upright and he stays healthy, the sky's the limit really with this offense. Stafford is a big upgrade over Jared, I agree. He'll struggle until he can be competitive enough. Quality players, that's fair, especially from the Coliseum. Let's bring Cooks back. I don't think Cooks is going to want to come back. I wish our uniforms had our old uniform fonts. Yeah, the new font is kind of weird, and especially when they were they were photoshopping the Aaron Rodgers look. Aaron Rodgers in number 12 looked weird. Like, it was a weird looking thing. It's disgusting that Buck is in the Hall of Fame and Gabriel is not. Joe Buck's in the Hall of Fame? Really? I didn't even know that. Not a fan of the numbers. There is something to tradition. Green Bay, Chicago, Pitts have not changed unis. Well, I guess the best way to put it, if we're talking about uniforms, and I don't want to get too much into it, but Leroy Irvin said it best on my podcast. Leroy Irvin said it best. He said, I don't know if Mercedes would ever change their logo. Why would they? I don't know if the Packers would ever change their logo. And it was like, you had a good point. But I do get it from a Rams perspective. I do. I was a big Henry Ruggs fan, Rams house. Big fan. Yeah. Al Michaels and John Madden were amazing. Do you remember that one Madden where they got Al Michaels and John Madden? That was great. I loved Al Michaels as an announcer. I'd love to get him on here. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that interview. I'm sure you probably would. I'd love to get Al Michaels on a podcast. Would love it. The Rams are winning the West, and this is coming from a Niner fan. Appreciate you, Adrian. And the reason I say that is because I know this is very Rams bombarded, but I'm still seeing Niner fans in here. I'm seeing Lions fans. I'm seeing all sorts of fans. And if you have any sort of question, feel free to drop it, because, it's not just one topic. This is anything I want to talk about, and it's an Ask Me Anything segment. So, we're almost at 1,000 right now. We're at 9,420 views, which is amazing. I wish the live playbacks counted as views towards the actual, thing. You don't get all those, but is what it is. Hey, Jake, what's the latest on the stuff look like next year? What do you mean by that, Paul? You'll have to elaborate on that because I didn't follow that. What pass rushers do you like in the draft, Jake? Well, I think right off the bat, I like Quincy Roche, however you want to say his name. So you have Quincy Roche here, Hamilcar Rashed Jr. from Oregon State, Carlos Basham from Wake Forest, Carlos Basham Jr. from Wake Forest, Shaka Toney from Penn State. Just some names there. I'm not done. Malcolm Kuntz from Buffalo is somebody that intrigues me. And then I would say just adding one more guy. Um, I'd probably go with Janarius Robinson from Florida State. So, there's some guys there. I'm going to look more into it. I haven't watched a ton of film. Honestly, Holden, you might be ahead of me. Just with everything going on. Appreciate it, AZZA. The monthly subscription to my channel. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to the video. Well, you see the video? So, you're watching the video right now. So that's a stupid question for me to say. But so you go to the video and you're going to see join right next to or right underneath the likes and dislikes. Do you see that? Let me know if you see it. The Colts quarterback might be... I think if Dak Prescott leaves the Cowboys, I think he's going to go to the Colts. Can you guys tell me if you see a join button below the like and dislike for the video? There should be a join button. Oh, coaching staff next year? I don't really know. I don't really know who he's going to add. Sean McVay has replacements he needs to add for offensive line assistant, passing game coordinator, cornerbacks coach, and then linebackers coach, and then assistant head coach. So those are the positions. Okay, cool. So if you guys want to join, it's $4.99 a month. You get, it's just if you're interested. You don't feel like you have to. I know someone just asked me, AZAA, can't see, dude, but I'm watching off a phone. Yeah, well, you might be able to go to my channel as well. So let's see here, because I think you might be able to go to my channel and then do it. And there should be a join button on my channel. But, I would do it after because it'll take you out of the stream entirely. On the road to to 10,000 views. Let's see if we can do it. If we can do it by 9:30, that'd be great. Because then I'll get off at 9:30. And that means we'll have been on here for almost 3.5 hours. Okay, so some people see the join button and others don't. I don't know why. I guess the people seeing it, are you on a laptop? Are you on like a computer? Or are you on a phone? Yeah, Holden. As you can see, I go through like spurts where I'm like I'm really into it, and then like I start to like it's not lose. I get exhausted, yes, because it's really hot in here, and so I get exhausted, and then I'm starting to go downhill a little bit, and then someone perks my interest, and I'm able to shoot forward. Okay, it might be on computer that you're seeing it. I don't know if it's available for everybody, but yeah, as soon as you do that, and if you do that, you will have a badge next to your name. So it should be like, it should show my logo, but it should be like a shield look, and it should have like a red thing around it. As long like as you continue to hold on to it, it's going to okay, cool. So yeah, it's if you do that, it's going to I'm gonna sound like Alex Jones. I don't know. I don't know about that. His warm ups before every show is to tell how much he's like he like curses, and he's like how much he hates certain people. I was a big fan of the Wildcat Chantry because it's not necessarily, I wasn't like a huge fan of like how much they used it, but the fact that they used it shows me that they're going to get creative. So okay, you have to subscribe to the channel first, and then you can join. Oh yeah, I know. It's cold. I'll go from really hot to not even being able to feel my hands. Jake, how excited are McVay and the players about Stafford coming to the Rams? I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, Paul. I mean, we haven't heard anything from players because the fact of the matter is it is not a guaranteed deal yet. Once it hits March, then the league season starts. The new league season starts in 2021, and they can talk. I don't even know if they can talk about it, to be honest with you. I think that's kind of the issue. I just don't think they should use Cup as the return guy, to be honest with you. Everyone make sure that you are subscribed to the channel and you hit the bell icon. Anytime I go live, you will know. It will happen immediately. Anytime I drop a video, you will know. It will happen immediately. You will get a notification, push notification. Just feel free, if you enjoy the channel, feel free to subscribe. We have 2320 subscribers. We're moving up the rungs here. Like I said, almost $100 in chat revenue. I mean, you guys are insane. I love y'all. I do think my chat thing is a little behind though, so I'm trying to get to everybody, but yeah. We're almost there. Almost at 10,000. Pretty incredible. Can't wait to pound San Francisco next season. We owe them. Do you think Hendo should be used as... I already answered that. I wonder what Colin Cowherd thinks about it. It's really weird. Colin was starting to really side with Jared Goff towards the end, but then he really broke it down and was like, I get this. I get the trade. I understand why they got Stafford. It's pretty easy to see that Goff was the problem. So I don't... He flip-flops a lot, so I know. What's up, Nick? How we doing? It's not even March yet, and the Rams fans act like nobody can beat them. I give him 3 losses. Stafford trade, I mean. No, that's what I... Oh, Stafford trade. He actually has a video on it. Colin Cowherd came out with a video on it. You should check it out. Do we waste more first-round picks or no? He likes it. He does like it. Rams said no presser on Stafford till March. Yeah, they can't do it because it's not... You can't do a presser on a trade for a player that you can't acquire until the new league season, because right now the trade deadline already passed, so they can't do anything as far as it. I don't even think they can really speak on it. So that's why you're getting stuff from like Peter Schrager saying Sean McVay's over the moon. He's really happy, but Sean McVay can't come out and say that. So that's why he Like, people are learning that because of that. Yeah, but keep this in mind, White Moose, is that the Lions GM loved Jared Goff and was the guy that pounded the table for him. So when that happened, when Brad Holmes had an opportunity to get the guy that he pounded the table for, he was all over it. What's up, Coach? It's not official yet, no. Who do you think we should get for offensive linemen? There's one guy that I just can't stress enough, and it is Creed Humphrey. Get him, plug him in at center with the first pick in their draft in the second round. That's the guy. What do you think of Shi Smith? I think he is a great 4th, 5th round deep threat wide receiver. Could be. I haven't seen a lot on Shi Smith. I saw the one-handed catch in the Senior Bowl when I was going over the film. I haven't come close to finishing the film, but I saw some, just kind of going through it a little bit, and that was a really nice catch by him. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Jarvis Landry, I guess, in a sense. So. Wait, question. Can they decide to trade him to another team before March, or is it confirmed and he's on the Rams? Just wondering because I'm confused. So, Cameron, great question. Mike Florio brought it up, and I don't think he really likes the Rams, so I think this is why he brought it up. The Rams or the Lions can back out of that offer. Until it's confirmed, anybody can back out of the offer. So, yes, the Lions could 100% go turn around and deal him somewhere else. But here's the problem with that. We've talked about it on here before. You guys, a lot of you are Laker fans. With the idea of vetoing a trade, which you remember with Chris Paul, it kills everything. So the Lakers had, all of a sudden when that trade got vetoed, Pau Gasol's coming back to LA knowing that they don't want him. Lamar Odom, his life was ruined. Like, he literally thought the Lakers were his family, and then they did that. There's just so much that happened. So why am I saying this? Because this would never happen. When you have a trade like this, a blockbuster trade that goes through, and Jared Goff and Matt Stafford are part of it. Brad Holmes was with the Rams since 2003. He's developed great relationships. And say what you will, it doesn't matter if they're going to play or not this year. You want to keep those relationships very tight-knit. That's how you make those trades. That's how you get those favors. There's no way Brad Holmes is going to ruin that relationship before a season even starts in favor of a better trade. It's never going to happen. Florio said that. It's just never going to happen. I think Goff will be pretty solid in Detroit. I think that might be a good opportunity. I think it's a run-heavy scheme that might work well to Goff's strengths if they can really get the play-action passing going. And if they go out and get a Devontae Smith in the draft, they trade up and get him, and then they get Kadarius Toney in the second round, and now you're talking. And then in free agency, maybe they go out and they get somebody in free agency. So I get it. Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Florio, to be honest with you. I appreciate his grind, but yeah. Jake, do we have any picks left to use this year in the draft? Yes, we do. Second, 2/3, a 4th. I believe you traded the 5th for Corbett. You have a 6th and a 7th, I believe. So, yeah. Do we know how much Goff's contract they took? So they took all of Goff's contract after this season. That was why that cost the first round pick. It's a big deal. So we're almost at 1,000, or I keep saying that. We're almost at 10,000 views, which is incredible. I really appreciate you guys. We're at 9,991. And this is a huge milestone. This channel's growing rapidly. I started this in about, I want to say, the beginning of December, early November. And it's just taken off because of you guys. So we have 219 people in here. It's 9:30, over a little bit past 9:30. So we're about to do it. But yeah, I think that's there it is, 10,000 views. So I think that's gonna do it, folks. It's been a lot of fun talking with you guys. Again, if you're interested in obviously, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell icon. But if you're interested in, joining that membership, then, it's there. If not, no harm, no foul. But the join button should be next to the subscribe button. If you've already subscribed, it comes up. If not, it's probably, because you have to do it on a computer. Although I think I saw it on the phone, so I don't know. But anyway, appreciate you guys. Hope everyone had a fun time. As always, really appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. Hope you guys enjoyed last night. If you were in last night's stream, I know it didn't end it, that well. Feel good that I'm actually able to end this stream the right way without, all sorts of technical difficulties, knocking on wood as we speak. But that's going to do it. So you guys can follow me at JKBogan DTSN on Twitter. I follow back. Everything, all those pages. Be sure to follow Downtown Rams, DT Sports Network, the AJ Show, and we'll connect on Twitter. Anytime you have any sort of question for me, reach out. Feel free to hit my DMs, at me on Twitter. I'm always down. So appreciate you guys. You guys take care, and I'll be back tomorrow.